How's it going, everyone? I would like to welcome those who are watching, especially for me being on a hiatus. I would like to welcome everybody who is watching to the Sci Fi Society Podcast live stream, Volume 7. And we will be covering Pacific Rim, The Black. And now, first and foremost, I would like to, as always, introduce my guests who are also members of the Sci-Fi Society, and one of the founding fathers is, of course, Jedi Granville, aka Walter Lavelle Ross, and also great friend of mine, kaiju enthusiast, fellow kaiju enthusiast, Kevin Lambert, aka Kaiju Goodness, and we have a newcomer to the Sci-Fi Society live stream, and that is Jose Betran, my primo, Hoserman X. And I just want to add that people who are new to watching the live stream for the Sci-Fi Society, that Walter Lavelle Ross, Jedi Granville, and Hoserman X do have their own YouTube channels. So whenever you guys get a chance, check them out, and just hit the subscribe button for two of my close friends. And Kevin Lambert will soon have a channel up eventually when he can get the time to do it, because he's always busy. He's always working.
I wish.
Hey man, you gotta pay those bills, man. Luckily for me, I'm retired, so I'm blessed at that point. But anyway,
I said it once, I'll say it again. Pimping ain't easy.
it ain't, bro.
Say it, preach it, bro. Preach it.
It definitely isn't, man. So now, well, getting straight to this live stream, and as we do cover Pacific Rim: The Black, and it is, of course, a Netflix anime series, and I'll just say this to start off: it blew me away. Plus, it's very legitimate in the fact that it's very character driven, and of course adding the kaijus, adding the Jaegers, has that kind of like that Gundam-esque style, but instead of Gundams going after Gundams or machines after machines, it's of course killer robots going after kaijus, and so forth. And even the kaijus themselves in this series are very well designed, very well done, and I'm really impressed with how both seasons were made. And it's unfortunate that they only stopped at 2 seasons. I wish they could have continued it more. But anyways, like I'm gonna start off with my boy Kaiju Pimp Daddy Goodness, and I just want to get his take on season 1 for what do you call it?
Pacific Rim
the Black. Yeah. Oh God, dry. I'll pass it on them. I'll pass it on to Kaiju Pimp Daddy so we can start it off on this review and live stream. So take it away, Pimp Daddy.
No problem. Well, first of all, obviously, Pacific Rim: The Black is a direct animated sequel to the Pacific Rim franchise. It's an alternative. What I would say, it's an alternative mix from the end of the second movie, Uprising. If you're a fan of them films, what I would say is don't go into this thinking that it is going to be kind of goofy and fun and, like that. It's a more seriously toned series. It has a serious tone to it. And it's a family-driven story. It starts off basically during, I would say, one of the battles in the second movie, where there is 2 Jaeger pilots who are a married couple. Yeah. I think the surname of the family is the Travises. And Sydney's been taken over, it's been destroyed. You see an amazing Jaeger and Kaiju battle at the beginning. I believe the Kaiju that fights the Jaeger that is called Quill Tail.
Yeah. Acid Quill.
Acid Quill.
Yeah.
Acid Quill.
Yeah.
And Acid Quill, pretty good looking Kaiju, got a head of a shark. Mixture of it looks a mixture of a shark and I would say a skull crawler from the Monsterverse.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically, the plot continues where the Sydney's had to be evacuated, and they've began Operation Black, which is where I think the whole city has to be locked down and goes into a complete lockdown, and everybody has to evacuate. And basically, all of that part of Australia is like deserted. Yeah. And in the process of all that happening, the two young children of this couple, the Travises, end up having to be evacuated and separated from the parents. And that's where the plot of the show really starts off. Where I think, is it 7 years later after they've been abandoned by the parents? Or is it 5 years later? 5 or 7 years?
Yeah, 5. It's 5 years.
I think it was 5. 5.
5. And then basically the plot continues on in the first series of them coming to terms that they might never see the family, and then all of a sudden they discover a Jaeger.
Yeah.
And after they discover the Jaeger, that's when things really pick up. They decide to go on basically to go find the parents and to find humans and to find out what's happened to the world. And lots of other things go on, which we'll all discuss. But that's the basic start of the first season. And it's very much all about the brother and sister and their journey.
Yeah. No, yeah, thank you for the added information and your take. Yeah, it's kind of like I said. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I mean, freaking 7 whole episodes that are pretty, decently long, and that's why we want to break it down and make it a little bit shorter. And the whole thing about like Kevin was adding is that what he was saying was these kids who were not it's not that they were abandoned by their parents, it's just that their parents had no other options. Operation the Black was already put into effect. The whole city, the majority of all cities in Australia were all evacuated, and not only that, the satellites that they had in space had to be shot down and shut off and detonated. And that's one thing that I learned later on when I rewatched it, that the satellites. That's why when you saw, how when it was I think it was Stryker Berserker. Mm-hmm. And it was his pilot who was Herc Hansen, one of the last remaining Rangers from the Pacific Rim film, especially the first one. He after he finally actually activated the Operation the Black, I know you guys saw the all those kind of like meteors falling down to the
shooting stars, weren't they? But there were the satellites falling from space.
That when it was confirmed, that's when it's confirmed that the Black had already been initiated, and that's when people started being evacuated, and then they headed to Shadow Basin, and then Shadow Basin was one of the last headquarters that was a hidden it was a kind of like a shatter dome. It was kind of like a shatter dome, but there was a Jaeger left there, and that's where Ford and Brina Taylor had to leave their kids because they had no other options, and they had to go to Sydney and find out to see if they can get help to get the children who they had left at the Shadow Basin to get help. But like Kevin said, 5 years passed. These kids really they had to grow up like on their own, man. They had to grow up in some of the harshest conditions, how to learn how to survive, how to learn how to gather and make their own crops, make their own food, how to survive. And that's a rough way in itself, just to be able to live. and them, always having that hope, especially Taylor having that hope that his parents would return. And then after 5 years, man, that I don't know about you, but even after 2 years, that hope dwindles. For me, and from a reality sense, that hope dwindles each day. Each day that hope that they're going to come back is just going to dwindle. And then,
and Taylor, I think as well with Taylor, he's come to the realization that he's probably never going to see his parents again. That he's accepted it, and he's accepted this is his new life in this base, in Shadow Basin, where the sister Haley has never given up hope. And when they discover the Jaeger, she sees that as a sign to be able to go look for her parents, go out into the world and see what's happened. Why were they... I know they weren't abandoned, but they kind of were abandoned because the parents thought that's the only way to protect them and save them is by leaving them behind.
Yeah. Okay. Like I'm getting to the comments now. I'm going to pass it to my boy Jedi Granville, and Jedi Granville, we're leaving off at Shadow Basin when they get to Shadow Basin. And that's when Haley finds the Jaeger and, goes through all of the so-called training simulation, which she did in record time, which was like 3 minutes, and then she ends up, they end up, and then Taylor ends up finding her, and then we'll go from there. So just lead off from there, and what your thoughts were on season 1, and starting from, and we're actually just leaving off at Shadow Basin.
Well, leaving off at Shadow Basin, I mean, it's I would say they had, like you say, which we mentioned, the kids. They grow up, and they had to grow up in that environment. But when she finds that Jaeger, and remember this, we got to remember too, the characters beforehand that was in the place where they was at.
Lone Wolf Ronan. Jad, what's up, brother? Jad, Jadd, Jad. Welcome to the chat, and welcome to the stream, guys. Jake, welcome to the stream, man. Yep, Gojira 51. We have to have Gojira 51. What is up, everyone? Hell yeah, man. Keep going.
No, but to finish off, I'm sorry. I get caught up with the comments and everything. Y'all. Now we are introduced with some other characters that are just there as characters, but unfortunately, that's a foreshadowing to show you that we care about some of these characters that are here now before you discover the captures. I mean, the Jaeger, because guy's going to attack. But anyway, she discovers a Jaeger. And the character that is the Jaeger is Lola. We'll call her Lola because that's her name. And she turns out to be an interesting character too in this show. She's not just a AI that's just like, hey, I got an opinion about this, I have an opinion about that. No, Lola is much more than that, because she is, we find out later on down the line that she has emotions. She actually was programmed with emotion. She had an
emotion. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let me add to that. Her full name is Loa with an Loa. And it does sound like Lola. It does sound. I know. I got Lola too, man. I would call her Lola all the time. But but also, she was also like what you're referencing to is that she was constructed and built with an emotion chip.
Right. See.
Okay. So
but see, we don't find this out till later on. And like I say, when Haley, she's in there, she's like, I want to get this thing going, and Lola's telling, like, well, you got to go through these different, iterations of training. And she's a typical teenager. You say, skip. I'm like, that's just typical. And then when they try to get the Jaeger out, or at least she tried, it alerts the kaiju, unfortunately. And going forward with this, when the kaiju shows up, those characters that we meet earlier in that place all get smoked. They get murdered. They very much get killed. And you think to yourself, why we introduce these characters, who seem like, okay, they might transcend through the show. It's just an example of showing that no matter how insignificant or how interesting these characters are, if they get smoked, if they pretty much get clapped in sometime later, it just shows how effective that is. What is example of life? Life doesn't get no guarantees. These people are going to die no matter what you try to say. Oh, they're interesting characters. You know, they got this kind of personality. No, it doesn't work like that. And this shows right there when they discover the Jaeger, it alerts the kaiju, but it kills all these other characters off. And it's like, man, you know, it's like, and that to me, it shows like that's how life is. Nothing is guaranteed. Once they get that Jaeger going and, you know, going to where it's going, you know, I realized like, okay, we're going a long journey here, you know. And to me, that's pretty much what this show is. The first season, especially, it's a journey about knowing that, yeah, you lost something, but eventually you will gain something back. So that's how I got my kind of take on it. You know?
You were going to add something, Kevin?
No, I was just going to say the kaiju was Copperhead.
Yes.
Yeah, Copperhead. Yeah.
And what I wanted to add is, obviously, when you're first introduced to these characters, for those that are watching, you think these are going to be the long-term characters that's going to continue the show. And within the first couple of episodes, there's loads of people are immediately killed in this base attack. And that straight away shows you, in a way, the kind of the theme that the show's going for, and its unpredictability when it comes to characters. It shows you that basically no one's safe. And it's a bit like Game of Thrones in one way, where you might develop feelings or, you know, you want to root for a certain character, and next thing you know, they're gone. Yeah. And that's very good to do in a 7-episode story arc. And the first season, like you say, season 1 is all about them kind of going on it's like a road trip story.
The struggle. It's all about the struggle in the first season.
Yeah. And road trip, they're trying to discover what happened, where the parents, where they're gonna go. There's nowhere to hide. They don't know who's good, who's bad. Because in this story, it's not the kaiju that are the threat, it's the people around them as well.
Yeah, true. Exactly. And I was going to say, and also now I'm going to pass it on to my boy, Hoserman X, my Primo. So, Primo, what did you think about this when they get to Shadow Basin? What went through your mind when you saw Copperhead wipe out all of those other teenagers and children, and, you know, the survivors, like, because you know what, honestly, Walter, Jedi Granville, and goodness they had very good points. What it was that we were all thinking it kind of really played a trick on me, because you do have a point. It seemed like all these characters were going to have a part to play in the first season. Like, they all looked like they were going to have a part to play, but then, you know, they get wiped out. They get wiped out in the first, like towards the second episode. Like, they're already gone. They get wiped out. So tell me, Primo, what did you think? What did you think about what went through your mind when Copperhead freaking invaded Shadow Basin and just wiped it out? You hear me, Primo?
Well, I mean, I wasn't really expecting something like that to happen, you know? It's like, I can hear you, but I lag out. But I did hear your question. I wasn't expecting for that to happen, where Copperhead was destroyed on the body.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
It happens. I found it really interesting, though. That no, I'm not really good at explaining. I'm sorry, but I just said you.
That's okay.
Go ahead, you guys.
Because it's, well, I mean, like I said, it's really kind of like it threw me like really off when all of the villagers that were there at Shadow Basin got wiped out like right away, and then that's when
It basically set the tone for the rest of the show. What was to come in the next few episodes.
Yeah, it was a dark tone already. Like second episode in, it was already a very dark tone, and then that's when, it was Haley who had that guilt. She still carried that guilt for the majority of the whole season, and then on when that happened, and then like it would, man, like I said, these kids had to learn how they had to become adults like right away. They had to grow up really quick because they had no real role models. They had no really other adults around them, to really teach them about how life or survival would be. So they still have that kind of naive outlooks on life, especially Haley, because I mean, it was just, man, sometimes with Haley, man, she would, I don't know about you guys, sometimes she would get on my nerves because of her mindset, but I mean, but then I got to realize she's just a kid, she's just a little girl.
And that's something I have to let me put that out right there, Sci-Fi. That's the thing I have to keep reminding myself, especially with any particular character that's a teenager. They act like this certain way and everything, and I'm just like, okay, it's like, do you not get the fact that this is happening this way, But then, as you say, oh, I forgot, she's a teenager, and like any teenager, we all been teenagers. We know that we do or analyze things totally different than, because that maturity hasn't set in yet. I mean, even though she's had to do 5 years without the parents, she still has that nativity where she's, not all thinking of, but that's the thing though. I mean, teenagers will be teenagers, and she has to, as you say, she has to grow up in a certain way, but she still has that teenage angst, as the saying goes.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, they all had to be that way. They all, in one way or another, they were all naive, but you could tell the older teenagers were more of a guide, and just trying to be role models to them. And it's like even they all saw, like, even when they got there, when their parents really brought them to Shadow Basin, their Jaeger, which was Hunter Vertigo, which was also a pretty cool design of Jaeger, lost its arm. It lost its arm because an acid quill actually followed them and tried to ambush them, and they had to see how hard it's going to be for them to survive. And even if their parents, which was Ford and Brina, they were going to even return, and then when Haley finds a Jaeger, she, like I said, very naive, saying, going through the training simulation. And then what I liked about her brother, though, is like her brother, even though he did, like how Kevin was saying, was he did kind of lose hope, and he was like, you know what, this is probably where we're going to live for the rest of our lives. Our parents are probably not going to come back. So, but he was always the one that tried to think ahead. He always tried to keep us straight, He tried to keep his mind straight. He tried to be the person that was, more logical about things.
Was more realistic, and where she, being a young teenage girl, she had one thing about her: she always never lost hope. She always, we're going to talk about the character that they found, Boy.
Yeah, exactly.
She was always was very positive about that thing. She always was saying, we can do this. Let's not give up. Let's not give up hope. Where whenever something disastrous happened, he was trying to be realistic about it and would be like, well, we need to find safety. We shouldn't go in there because it's dangerous. Where she was like, let's just do it. So in a way, it was a good balance. He was trying to be realistic and serious and think like an adult because he was older than her. And she was being naive, but still very hopeful.
His whole MO was just to protect her from anything that comes.
Because he's a big brother. That's what big brothers do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he also, of course, all of these characters are flawed, but it's like he was. But another thing about him was even though he was older, he was more a little bit wiser, but he was very hesitant. He was very hesitant and wouldn't want to do things that would endanger her, of course. But after finding the Jaeger, seeing what happened to Shadow Basin, actually trying to fight fucking Copperhead. Copperhead is a fucking savage fucking kaiju, man. Dude. dude. Yeah, I mean, and Copperhead was. I mean, and what I liked about Copperhead too was the fact that he was a what do you call it, a quadrupedal.
Yeah.
He was a quadrupedal freaking kaiju, and you hardly see very few quadrupedal kaijus. You know, I mean, which will probably go back to, Pacific Rim, the first one, and then a few in Uprising. But I mean, the way they designed Copperhead was freaking awesome, man. I really liked Copperhead, and when I wanted to ask too, before I get to the battle, Primo Jose, what did you think of Copperhead's design?
Oh, he froze, I think, again.
It was again.
It was good, like you were saying. It's like the first quadrupedal kaiju that we see in there. Very, very well done.
Yeah, the color scheme was cool. Like, I can admit, like, the color scheme was real. It matched it. Like, everything matched it. And then, as far as, what did you guys think about it? What did you guys think, Walter and Kaiju Goodness? What did you guys think about it?
He was like I say, he was a cool design. Probably why he's called Copper. Because he does have that copper color kind of tone to him, But he more like the Terminator now, man. Because he was, they think they killed him, they think they've done away with him, but even Lois said, "No, he's just knocked out." So he was a badass through that first season. He was like, you see him in the first, I think it was the second episode, first episode. He was in the second episode, and it's like, okay, he's going to be gone like maybe.
Well, he was the big bad of season.
It's like, he's always coming back, dude. And I'm just like, can't they get rid of this motherfucker? It's like, but in the end, but like I say, as you say, Kevin, he was the big bad throughout, because when they do take his ass out, it's like, thank you, man. Take this big bitch out, man, because he is getting on my nerves. Like, what the hell, man? I know you like the bad in here, but this dude needs to go. He needs to be X'd out, So when they take him down, it's like, thank you, I was like, but as you say, Kevin, he was the big bad for that season, and I think that's what they needed to kind of transcend, because even though he was one of the big bads, we can't forget the fact that he really wasn't the ultimate. When I say ultimate bad, human beings were the more fucked up, character driven up bad in this series, because it surprised me how many people were like, do the things that they do, they backstab, and I'm just like, God, dog, man, like, what the hell, So, but getting back to Copperhead, Copperhead was just, I liked him, but I'm just like, man, let's get this guy out of here, because it's like he needs to die, man. I mean, y'all ain't got no weapon in this, but something needs to kill him. Something needs to get rid of this dude, man.
What about you, Kevin?
I loved his design. I just thought he was a cool looking kaiju from start to finish. He had like a Rodan look, because out of like the Monsterverse, he had like, for when I first seen the design, I thought, because his belly's all red, it looked like lava under his chest.
Yeah.
And I thought he was at some point was going to breathe lava or fire, which he didn't do, but he just had this just cool look about him. He was different to all the other Pacific Rim kaijus, which all seemed to have like a dark grey colouring with the light blue eyes and like blue coming from the mouths.
Neon color, like a
neon blue, and he didn't. He was very much his own animal, his own machine, and that's what I think made him stand out. He was like a rogue kaiju. He was like a rogue kaiju. Like, he didn't seem like he was with the rest of them, and he did his own thing and didn't give a shit who he took out, who he went for.
Uh-oh. What happened? Now we lost Walter. No, keep going, man. No, we'll get Walter back. He'll show back up right now.
So we should continue on where the story goes after the base has been destroyed. They've discovered the Jaeger and decide to take the Jaeger, and with Loa's help, they go to, is it Meriden City?
Yeah, they go to Meridian. They go to Meridian City.
Meridian City, yeah, because they need a power cell because the Jaeger is starting to lose power.
Yeah.
And that's where things start to get even better.
Yeah, keep going.
So things start to get better because they go to...
Sorry, Ben. Yeah, we lost you there. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Okay.
That's all good, man.
So they end up going to Meridian City to find the power cell.
Yeah.
Because the Jaeger's losing power, and during to go to... What was the name of the city again? I forgot it already. It was
Meridian City.
Meridian?
Yeah.
Meridian City, and then during their time there, they discover these dog-like kaijus that are hunting them.
The Rippers.
The Rippers, yeah. And they end up finding this, I guess it's like an old Jaeger bit. Is it like an old Jaeger compound? And it's obviously...
What is that? Oh, is that D Film Fanatic? What's up?
Ooh,
Is that it?
Yeah, D, what's up, brother? Look at this badass panel of legends. What up, brothers?
Boom.
What is up, man? What is up, man? Welcome to the stream.
So, anyway, during trying to hide from these kaiju dog-like creatures and going into this facility, this old base where they are looking for a power cell, they come across a chamber.
Yep.
And in the chamber is a grey-haired child who becomes a huge surprise and is a huge part of the ongoing story. And the reveal at the end of season 1, what happened, I went 50-50. I was surprised and I loved it, but at the same time, I was thinking of another show.
Which one was that?
Attack on Titan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And how things progressed in there and people transform into things. And I thought to myself, are they going down that route? But I think this does it better. Pacific Rim does it better. Pacific Rim the Black does it way better. So they find this child and they free him from the chamber. He doesn't speak. It's just a mystery what this child is. And they give him the nickname Boy. They just decide to call him Boy.
Right.
It's not original, but they call him Boy. And so that is where we are now. So what were your feelings about that whole scenario of finding this child?
Well,
I do jobs.
I have one little nitpick. I'm gonna just say this real quick. The power cell that they get, that's really, you guys gotta give you a suspicion of disbelief, because it's about the size of a suitcase and it's powering a 20-story mech. I'm just like, what in the world? So it's like, okay, that's okay. I'll go with that. I mean, but I just think that's just, I mean, maybe that just shows how powerful they are. Maybe that's what it is, so.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, I'll get with my boy Hoser X. Primo, what did you think of the design and adding the kaiju boy to the story? What did you think of that? Oh, now we can't hear him. We can't hear you, Primo.
Oh, and Walter's gone again.
Oh, and Walter's gone again.
Welcome to YouTube Live, where all the great things happen.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's because it's all my fault, man. Because I've been off for so long, and I took such a long hiatus, man. That it's all just a bad luck, man. Sorry about that, Walt.
Why I'm losing you guys? That's okay.
I was telling Kevin that it's probably it's probably me, bro, because I jinxed everybody because I've been off of YouTube and streaming for so damn long.
Look, we're going to experience some things like Jose, we're experiencing technical difficulties. It's all good. So
Yeah, it's all good, man. But Jose, can you hear us now? Can you speak up? Yeah, speak. We can't hear you though. We can't hear you.
Ooh, I can't hear you. Ooh.
Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
No, I still can't.
Yeah, we still can't hear you.
Wow.
Well, continue with where you left off, Walter, and then we'll get back to.
Oh, about the power cell. No, I mean that's my whole thing about finding Boy. I mean, I think that was a very interesting, take on the whole Pacific Rim, mythos, because it's like, okay, we're seeing something of a human being that's actually able to change into a kaiju, but it's like I say, I feel that, you don't know where it's going to, but when they present it, it's like, oh, wow, this is actually going to be a pretty cool, because we don't know who this boy is. We see he's in his test tube, and we're just thinking like, what's going on, but when they take him, he's an integral part of the story. And then when we, like you say, as Kevin said, once we find out what he can do, it's like, okay, I'm loving this, So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we got Eric Glasgow, boy from the Godzilla community. What's up, Eric? Thanks for joining the stream, man. Thanks for joining the stream. Hey, Primo,
Yes,
can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Oh, we still can't hear you.
I think we can hear him. He can hear us, but we can't hear him.
I can't
Yeah,
hear.
we can hear you, but you can't hear us. Like you can't like what do you call it?
No, I think we can't hear him, but he can hear us.
He can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Yeah.
We can hear you. I mean, we can't hear you.
This is weird, but okay.
You know what? Let me watch. I'm gonna take you out. I'm gonna take you out of the stream, and I'm gonna add you back. I'm gonna take you out and then add you back. See if that fixes it. Okay.
But
Okay. From there, Kevin, keep elaborating on the story.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, the first two episodes were introduced to the Black. What had happened? Sydney's destroyed. These two young kids have found this Jaeger. They went on to get the power cell. They found Boy. That's what they've named him inside the chamber. And then they take Boy and they decide to take him with them to try and find Sydney base and to find the parents. And during this, they then come across other humans who turn out to be a bunch of, don't want to say the word, a bunch of arseholes, a-holes.
Yeah.
That's
Ron Real, baby. Ron Real. Won't say anything.
And the main one is Shane, and he is a complete a-hole.
Yes.
The fucking douche. That guy is a fucking douche, man.
Thinks he runs basically the desert. He thinks it's basically turned into Mad Max, where he is now like the king of the desert. He's trading kaiju eggs for power cells and stuff with other, I would assume, other gangsters of the desert.
Yeah.
And obviously Boy makes a mistake and runs out, and during the time that there's this big serpent type, I would say like giant gecko like kaiju that has eggs that Shane and his enforcements, his people, his soldiers are trying to capture. There's a scuffle. Some of these people get killed. They then obviously capture Boy, and they capture Haley and everyone. And I think he's just such an arsehole. He thinks I'll just kill them. But then there's one person that stops him from being killed called me, who has a very who has a very interesting past and plot as well. So, what did you guys think of what went down with the whole Shane and Boy being captured? And as soon as you met Shane, you knew straight away he was going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start off with that motherfucker Shane. That person, the voice actor, the way he was done as a design and as a character, dude, was a straight up fucking douchebag, bro. He was such a fucking piece of shit human being that but I mean, come on, for the series and for the show, he did his job. You love to hate the guy. You love to hate him. He was ruthless. He didn't give a shit. He was self-serving. You know, like Pimp Daddy was saying, he was just like a wannabe gangster of the Outback. He's just a fucking Outback gangster. You know what I mean? And he like you said, he has a ragtag little rogue. How do you say it? A little platoon of lackeys. Yeah, like his own little personal outfit of just like mercenaries, like a mercenary group, and you can tell that it was mostly just based off of survival also, and they would whatever kind of equipment or resources they can get, they would take, and
they were just scavengers, really. They were just nasty survival scavengers, and he was the big prick who was running the show.
Right.
Like it was the black the black or the Outback, you know how they say it, they just call it the black. It was kill or be killed, survive or die. It's like, that's the way it was. And them also when they ran into that giant lizard type kaiju that was more water-based, like a water-based kaiju, Boy happens to, I mean, Boy doesn't know what the hell's going on. He doesn't really know what's going on, but because of him, some of the mercenaries get freaking wasted, and then that's where we're introduced to May, and then they find out that she's also a mercenary, but you can tell she has a soft spot. She has a little bit of remorse for people and stuff like that, but she could still be just as ruthless as anybody else. And then they're in that process of going to their little base of operations, which is called Bogan, and basically it's just a collection of vehicles and resources, equipment, and they transfer it. They're nomadic. They're like a nomadic tribe, but they have all the equipment, they have trucks and all that stuff, and then that's where they try to make a deal for the kaiju eggs that they had obtained from that lizard type kaiju before May killed it. And then this is where the part about Shane we start to get to know him now. He's like a gangster type of, like I said, a gangster type of negotiator, negotiating for power cells which are needed for Atlas Destroyer. And this is where you can really tell that Taylor and Haley have no experience whatsoever, because they were hidden away from the world for 5 years. So this is where you start to really understand that they don't really have any type of experience with outsiders. So they get taken advantage of very easily. And that's where their, the fact that they're so naive comes into play. And then that's when, Shane decides to have his, use his own equipment to get into Taylor's mind, find out what they're really hiding, because he mentions a power cell to May. And then that's when the shootout happens between the people who want to obtain the 2 kaiju eggs and, Shane's outfit. And it's like, shootout, people dying. That's where that's where you can still understand that it takes a dark tone. It goes from, okay, now let's talk about survival to back to being dark. So that's what I really like about the tone of this series, especially, season, how it goes with one.
And when it comes to Shane, if the people watching know the history with the Pacific Rim films, obviously people can drift. But drift to run the Jaegers. There has to be 2 pilots that drift together, and Shane has built kind of his own personal drift,
A neural bridge.
a neural bridge machine. So obviously he goes inside Taylor's mind to obtain information. And at this time, Shane did not know that they had a kaiju. Sorry, not a kaiju, a Jaeger. Because they kind of kept that secret. And then he knew they were hiding something. And this is how you know he's such a piece of shit. Because he goes into Taylor's mind and gets all this information, and he then plots his way to try and get this Jaeger, and really shows how he really that he's just a scumbag.
Yeah, exactly, pure scumbag. I think, and I was gonna ask, hey Primo, can you? I think we can. Let's see, can we hear you? Speak up. We still can't hear you. Yeah, we still can't hear you.
Okay.
That's weird, man. I wonder why that's happening. Go ahead and check something out. Go ahead and do what you got to do.
Check something.
Check your mic. Check the microphone on the phone.
This could be bad.
So, should we continue with talking about?
Let me give it to Walt real quick on Walt, where we were based at, especially where Kevin had just finished off. Start off from there when we get to finding out that. Okay, now we can hear you. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, my mic, but it was giving me trouble. I was tapping and it wouldn't turn on.
All right, I was wondering what that was going on with that.
No, it's all good, man. It's your first time on the stream, so just don't worry about it, man. Nothing's gonna go exactly perfect on a stream. So
that's how it goes.
Yeah,
but to kind of add on to Kevin, we're introduced to, because when like I say, Shane, piece of shit, takes information from from Taylor, his mind. Okay, he realizes, well, you got a Jaeger, so this might make him the bad boy on the block. So we're introduced to this other character, Joel, who's a Jaeger tech. And he's kind of a snarty, smart mouth kind of individual, sarcastic kind of individual, and he's a pretty cool character.
He's an alcoholic.
Yeah, he's very much an alcoholic, and he speaks out all kinds of things. Because when he gets tested for the drift with these different riders, it's like, dude, all you're doing is getting your brain turned into mush more and more. And here's another example. I'm just gonna say this real quick and then push it on. We think that like I said, we're gonna meet some characters along the way. I'm thinking he's gonna be one of those characters that's gonna be along for the ride as well. But y'all know what happens to him later on.
Within 2 episodes.
But when it happens, I was just like, damn, okay, that's. I didn't expect, again, an example of knowing that whoever character is in here, they're in there for a while, but it's like, oh shit, now this is such a doubt showing how real and dark this is. But like I say, through that aspect of doing the like I say, the Jaeger test and everything, they couldn't drift, they couldn't be compatible. So it's like Haley and Taylor saying, we can do this, but it's like, no, you're not doing this, so. And that's the only bargaining chip they really had, But yeah, at that time it was like, you meet Joel, we see what's going to happen to him, and then but it's still in the path of how he's trying to get the Jaeger going in this point in time, because they're trying to drift.
You say something, Kevin?
No, I'm just saying, like, so we met the first two characters, Haley and Taylor, and then we meet these new group of characters, Shane, May, Joel, and Spider. Spider, the one who's got a mask and that on. And you then think, right, these are going to be the new characters. Whether the villains or heroes, these are the new characters. And then obviously I think Shane only keeps Joel around because he's good with tech. He's got no other use to him other than he's good with technology. He can work machines and all that. He's an alcoholic. He's a bum. He's a dropout of college or something daft like that. He'd probably have some sort of background like that. And then when Shane finally gets his hands on the Jaeger, he then uses Joel to try and repair the Jaeger. And he tries to get drift pilots out of his little gang, his enforcement. And obviously, none of them are compatible to drift with Joel. The only one that's available is either me or Taylor, and Taylor's refusing to do it. And basically he gets told, if none of them drift with us, I'm going to kill you, Shane. And something happens to Joel because his face twists. He must have a stroke or something during the drift.
Yeah.
And May realizes he's basically going to be no use to Shane anymore. And they escape. They eventually escape. Joel decides, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to help you escape. And then within 2 episodes, you think Joel's gonna redeem himself. He's going to be a character that'll continue. May has betrayed Shane because in the process of all this, May has no memory of her past because Shane has claimed that he saved her from her parents after they died or something, and Joel informs May that it was all made up, that he didn't save May from our parents being killed. This is how much of a scumbag Shane is. He stole May. He stole May. He kidnapped her. And once she finds this information, that's when she helps Haley, Taylor, and Boy escape with Joel as well, because he knows Joel's going to get killed because he's no use to Shane anymore. And in the end of, for me, the biggest shock of the first season is over the handheld radio that Joel has in his hand to communicate. Shane wants to speak to me. And the next thing you know, it goes off and Joel's head gets completely blown apart. He gets completely fucked up.
Whacked. He gets whacked. Yeah, he gets fucking whacked.
Then you didn't think it could get any darker, and it got very dark even more.
And he said it, and he says he's like, well, you know, I want to speak to May. Well, she doesn't want to talk to you right now. He's like, well, you know, can you give her a message for me? He's like, yeah, sure. You know, just let her know this is what happens to people who turn their back on me, and then boom, just blows his freaking head off, man. And I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't like I said, that was so hardcore how he did that. I mean, he like I say, I really thought, you know, okay, he's just gonna leave a message. Well, he left a message, but it was a indefinite one, and it's like, yeah, Joel is no more. And I will say this about Joel, you know, there was one redeeming thing about him when he told May that, you know, like you say, her past is not her past. The memories that she has are not hers, you know. And I feel like that was kind of surprising for me to see that kind of redemption about him. But I think he kind of redeemed himself when he took that radio, even though he got X'd. And it's like, that lets you know, it's like, okay, well, he doesn't have to suffer because he, like you, as Kevin said, he knew he was going to get killed. But I'm pretty sure he didn't expect to get killed by getting your head blown off. You know, I mean, that was like, okay. I'm like, all right, that's one way to take somebody out, but that was not expected for me. I was just like, I didn't expect that. I just really didn't.
Even May said way before, like even the beginning, like hitting towards the middle of season 1, May had told Haley and told Taylor, there are more dangerous things than kaiju in the black.
Mm-hmm.
There are more dangerous things, and Shane is like, dude, he's the ultimate sinister freaking villain in this fucking series.
He's the big bad in season 1. He's like I said Copperhead was, but I would say Copperhead's the secondary big bad.
Yeah.
Shane is the big threat in season 1.
Yeah, he's the main, like you guys had mentioned earlier. It's the human aspect, and freaking Shane, who was the main freaking threat and antagonist. You know what I mean? The kaijus are kaijus. The kaijus are doing what they're created to do, which is destroy.
Yeah.
But freaking Shane is a cunning, conniving, sinister, fucking no remorse at all type of guy. And you know, heading on from there. Well, let me just get to Hoser X on just one of the opinions on what did you think? Primo, when what did you think was going to happen when the breaches started coming out under Atlas Destroyer after when Joe had died and May had buried him? What did you think about that part?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm not really good with explaining myself on the movies
Just
and stuff.
Just say how you went. Just say however you want to say it, man.
Just wing it.
Well, I thought it was interesting. You know, it's well, see, okay, I don't want to jump into the game because you know the character boy. It's interesting because as you see, as it progresses, as the series progresses, how there was some religious overtones in there, because they, with the sisters and the egg, and they're waiting for their high mazat. So very interesting.
Yeah. I agree. The tones when we get to that part, when we get to that part, like you have a good, that's a good reference. That's a very good reference when it comes. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, he froze up again.
Unfortunately, I have that out now. Hello.
What's up?
Okay, can you see me now? Can you hear me? Right?
Yeah.
We can see. Yeah, we can see it here.
I'm gonna have to be leaving the stream now.
Okay.
I have to leave. So I gotta work tomorrow early in the morning. And leave it here. And I want to thank you guys for me. And I'll try and make the next one as well.
But we appreciate that.
Everybody have a good day and everything, and enjoy the rest of the stream.
Take care.
All right, thank you, man.
Okay, thanks for the invite as always. And
thanks for joining, man.
All right. Okay. See you soon.
We'll talk to you soon, brother. Take it easy, man.
All right.
Okay, talk.
Okay. That happens.
Cool. Well, it can't be helped. Technology sucks sometimes.
Dude, doesn't it though? God, shit.
Just ask Joel. He's fucking got blew up.
Right?
You saw me froze up. You saw me froze up twice. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since, like I said, before we get back to it, man, it's been a while since all of us have been on a stream, especially me, man. So I'm rusty as fuck too, man. But I don't give a shit. It's my fucking channel. It's my stream. It's the Sci-Fi Society. We keep it raw and real. So if anybody don't like it, they can go fuck themselves.
I don't give a fuck about what no one thinks.
But also now to everybody who's watching, Gojira851, Eric Glasgow, Eric and D Film Fanatic, my brother from another mother, man, part of the Hit Squad. We had the Hit Squad here. Hopefully, I hope Lone Wolf is still here. But I want to thank everybody who has joined the stream, especially everybody who's adding the comments and everything. Thank you for helping out Joe and giving him some advice on your phone and everything, man. So thank you guys. So now thank you for everybody who's just joined the chat also, man. So now getting back to it. Now we see what happened to Joel, and then right when that happens, May talks with Haley, and they have a little scuffle, and then May starts to take off, and the breaches start coming out. Boy senses a connection to these breaches where they're happening, so he takes off, goes off to one of the breaches, and that's where Taylor and Haley barely freaking get out of one of the breaches with Atlas Destroyer when Atlas Destroyer is almost freaking swallowed up by the breach. And then ends up following and then they end up following Boy towards a boneyard. It's like pretty much a boneyard of kaijus and Jaegers. And this is what I like about the series that connects to the movies, to Pacific Rim and the Pacific Rim Uprising. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And they mention Leatherback. They mention the Mutavore, and then they mention Slattern, which was the last antagonist Slattern from the first Pacific Rim. That was the last kaiju, the final battle. And I like the way they referenced it, and they made to me, in my opinion, this is how they were able to somewhat redeem Uprising by adding story, some of the storyline to it, especially what happens with Apex. And that's when soon we get introduced to Apex, which is a fucking sick, badass fucking, that's a true destroyer in my opinion. Apex was a fucking savage, man. Fucking total badass. What do you call it? Kaiju mech.
He's a kaiju mech Jaeger hybrid.
Yeah, he's a kaiju mech. Yeah, he's a
like the if you remember the name of the alien race,
the
precursors in Uprising, they tried to mix Jaeger tech with their technology of Jaegers and their technologies with the kaiju, and obviously, but the thing is, it was explained that Apex, who is a hybrid with kaiju and Jaeger, he got severed from the link and grew his own personality and became sentient on his own. So he's his own character, his own individual, his own being. So he thinks for himself, he does what he wants. But he seems, I would say he's like an anti-hero. He's like a vigilante. He's neither good or bad. And he kills kaiju, but for some reason he's got this connection with Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's very protective of Boy. And if it wasn't for Boy, I think he would have killed Haley and Taylor and destroyed the Jaeger that they were piloting.
Oh, I mean, even that, like you're adding, like I said, you're adding also good input, because, I mean, not only was Apex, a product of what came out of the Uprising War from a movie, Pacific Rim Uprising, they made it work. They made it work instead of how poorly it was received from Uprising. They made Apex look badass. Red and black, gave him steel teeth, a personality who had no allegiance. He didn't have allegiance to kaiju. He didn't have allegiance to the precursors, and he didn't have any allegiance to,
he was his own entity. He had his own. He was his own entity.
Yep, you know it, my brother. You know it. Film fanatic, keeping it raw, baby.
The weird thing is, we're kind of hinted at him, Apex, earlier in the series when he was eating those Reapers, and then he actually killed a kaiju, but we don't really see his full form until later on. And then when you do see it, it's like, oh shit. And Lola had explained, what had happened, how he came to be. But to me, he was one of my favorite characters in the series, because he's like, as Kevin said, he's his own person. He's like, I don't give a fuck who you are, If I take you out, I'm gonna take you out. I don't give a damn who you are. But as you say, that special connection with Boy, and we don't realize what it is until we see that link between them, and it's like, oh shit. And the funny thing is, as Kevin said, he almost kills Taylor and Haley, but Boy gets in the way because he was about to come down with the hammer. And Boy, this is the thing I'm trying to figure out. Could Boy have stopped his fist before it hit them, or did it was just him, he felt something and he stopped? But I think Boy stopped him from hitting them before it hits, because it's like, damn, Boy's this strong, So, but you still don't know he's what he is a hybrid in terms of turning into whatever. But I was like, when I saw that part, it's like, okay, the boy's got some skills here. He's got some powers. I didn't realize he had that much power. But it's crazy, man. Because that's the part that really got me amped up when they say, okay, what's going to happen in the next season? But you don't really know what's going on but like I say, when he stops him, it's like, okay, he stops him, and then we see that connection when he drifts with him, and you see that somehow he implanted or put something in the city, something. I don't know what it was, but it's just like that was that kind of connection that they have, it's part of, but it was something more to that because Boy was just a experiment.
They've got some sort of link. And right. I don't know, because the only thing I will say to the viewers, and you see, they did kind of explain how Boy was there and how he became, but I still think there's another. I still think there's a lot of backstory that wasn't revealed, and obviously because it is just a 2-season show, there's lots of like loopholes and there's lots of plot things, that haven't been explained fully, and we probably won't find out. But I think, in my mind, I think because Apex was part of the precursors and how it was linked, somehow I think his link got attached to Boy.
Yeah.
And I think that's how he senses him and feels him. And he's there whenever Boy's in danger. He suddenly wants to be there to protect him.
It's like a father figure.
I think that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm thinking that maybe whatever that what they were using, because if they elaborate, I think they said like Boy was probably created as a weapon or as an infiltrator to for humanity, for them. Okay, if we can't destroy humanity with kaijus, we might as well make some kind of infiltrator that can destroy the Earth or destroy the government of Earth or all kind of entities a part of Earth, the government or anything like that. They can do it through infiltration, and maybe that's. But like you said, but Kevin, you have a good idea. All those ideas and all that kind of backstory, we're probably never going to find out.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, if you look at it this way, there was 3 ways of trying to take over the Earth. Step 1 is they used just.
I'm in blast. What's up, girlfriend?
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
So,
hey, hopefully we can have you on there one day.
100%.
I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah.
So in my mind, when it comes to the precursors and how they infiltrate or take over worlds, they kind of phase 1 is to use the kaiju, and then they get part of our world's technology and they look at it, and then the phase 2 was to do a kaiju Jaeger hybrid. Phase 3 of their infiltration was to make a human kaiju hybrid that could hide among it. And that's basically what Boy was. He was, I would say, phase 3 of their plan of using our DNA and mixing it with kaiju DNA and then using it that way to infiltrate our world and our government and take over.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's definitely what do you call it? That's definitely what do you call it? A good analysis, man. Because I thought about it now that I've already thought about it. It's like, you know what? I mean, he pretty much is. I mean, well, just in my opinion, he was made, like you said, Kevin. He was made to be an infiltration. He was made to be an infiltrator and then kill or infiltrate the government from the inside, destroy it from within. So I mean that makes a good, that makes a really good, part of that would have made an even better part of the story if they would have continued it, say going into a season 3 or season 4. But he had not only did he have a connection with Apex, he also had a deep connection with Haley, and Haley is what made him, was what tamed him, showed him about love and compassion and everything. And yeah, man, I mean, that's a really good point, man. I mean, and from there, like I said, where Walter was leaving off and where we were leaving off, especially Kaiju Pimp Daddy. Kaiju Pimp Daddy's on a roll on this fucking stream.
He's doing
He's on a
it.
fucking roll, man.
Come on.
Baby.
He's doing way better than me, and I'm the fucking host. But yeah, man. But now moving on from there, like, okay, they have the confrontation. They see that boy is, right there in the freaking front of the goddamn breach, and then that's where, another Acid Quill comes out. Taylor and Haley try to protect Boy. They don't have an arm because it got destroyed fighting Copperhead. And then out of the blue, Apex makes his debut, just literally single-handedly destroys Acid Quill like nothing, and just totally obliterates him. And then that's when Apex and Haley doesn't know. Haley thinks Apex is gonna hurt Boy, so this happens. And then what Jedi Granville was saying was, Boy is trying to protect Haley and Taylor and Atlas Destroyer from Apex, and then he actually stops Apex's punch from destroying the compod, the cockpit where the Jaeger is, with his own strength, with his own legs and hands, which was crazy, insane. And remember, he's a hybrid, so he's gonna have all types of his powers could be limitless when he grows up, or if he were to become an adult. His abilities can become limitless. You don't know that. He's one of the very few hybrids that was created, from there. So, and then going on from there, they Apex senses something from him, has that connection. Even back to Meridian, before Meridian fell, you can see when Apex was digging into the bottom of the Pan Pacific, the Pan Pacific Defense Force. He was trying to get to. He was trying to get to Boy, but couldn't get through him. And he tried to use a psychic neural bridge, but instead, now that he sees Boy, after Boy was protecting Atlas Destroyer, he does that neural bridge with Boy, and then finds out that Boy's just like him. They're both hybrids. They're both Apex is a different type of hybrid, but they still have a connection. They're still somewhat similar.
Apex is a Kaiju Jaeger hybrid, and Boy is a human Kaiju hybrid.
But
both got that connection because of how they've been created. They're both hybrid, and I think they've both got some sort of psychic connection because they've got the Kaiju DNA within them. They can bridge. I think they can sense each other.
Yeah, man.
Here's a trip when it comes to here's a trip when they connect up like that. This scene here kind of like maybe he's like, oh wow, this is just funny. He senses that the Jaeger doesn't have a arm, so he goes and gets an arm for them, and I'm just like, wow, this Apex has got personality, but he got that from Boy. Boy had that knowledge about the losing an arm, so they have some kind of weapon. It's not explosives, but it's an effective weapon. So that shows right there their connection is much more than we think it is. But how far does it go? We don't know. But we actually find out even later on in the second season. And I was just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah, seeing that arm. I mean, that arm was from a Mark IV Jaeger called Chaos Nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
And Chaos Nemesis was a very how can you say it? Chaos Nemesis was a very how do you say it? What do you call it? Alexa, cancel.
Alexis is talking to you.
Okay,
AI.
sorry about that. What do you call it? Right? Yeah. No. Yeah. So Chaos Nemesis was a very well armored Jaeger that I guess Apex took it out, but then there was still parts laying there. So now I think, I don't know, Kevin, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think since Boy has a connection with Haley also has a connection to Apex now, a small connection.
He does.
I think it's two things. I think maybe she does, or I think because Apex senses that Boy has a connection to Haley. He's protective of Haley because of the connection Boy has with her.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you can
Well,
feel that.
yeah. He felt it.
So-
He felt that connection because they drifted, because they did a psychological drift between Apex and Boy, and that's how Apex noticed that when he saw Boy's memories, he saw that Haley had saved Boy, so that's why he gave them he gave the Jaeger Atlas Destroyer the new arm from Chaos Nemesis, and then that's where they say, well, even Haley says that, yeah, well, I think, you know, Apex is trying to protect Boy, not to hurt him. So that made sense. That made sense. And then now, since you want to move it forward a little bit more, we're an hour 16 in, so we're still good. We're making good time. So
hey, Eric's
now,
got a question for,
yeah. That's another thing I was gonna say. He says that do you think Boy was a beta test for a human kaiju soldier? I said, I mean, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, he was either definitely going to be a soldier or an infiltrator. Like how I look at it, if you look at the three, if they did a third, for example, Pacific Rim film, the first film had the kaiju. The second film did have a kaiju Jaeger hybrid. They could have, if they did a third film, they could have easily brought in a human kaiju hybrid as the next step of the invasion. And maybe Pacific Rim the Black was leading to that. You could have had a soldier who turned into be a kaiju hybrid, and that would have been an interesting plot for a third film. But obviously they've kind of brought it into the series, into the Pacific Rim the Black.
That's what they look good now with that too, I would think. You know.
No, that's a great comment, man. I mean, he was definitely a prototype of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely a prototype and a product of something of, you know, genetic engineering when it comes to being an infiltrator for the precursors. So that does make a lot of sense.
He could have been human made. Who's to say that it wasn't the government that created him to basically combat the kaiju?
That's what I was thinking.
I think that makes more sense, that he was actually human made, since he was in a test tube in the base in the first film. Sadly, the first series.
Yeah, like that. See, that's another good analogy. I think a 4-soldier team would be deadly. Like, oh yeah, I mean, I agree with that, man. But now moving on with that. Okay, we leave the part where, you know, Boy and Apex now have a connection. They already drifted psychologically, so we go there now. Now they're going. Now from there they go straight back. Well, I don't know. It was another city. It wasn't Meridian. It was another city.
It was Clayton City.
Okay, it was Clayton City. Okay, they go back there, and then now they had already found out that there's another Jaeger there, but it's down. It's not functional. So they go to Clayton City. They have another reunion with May, and, you know, they have another like, say, interaction where, you know, May starts feeling remorse again. She starts feeling remorse after she sees him again, and, you know, she still has that. You can tell she does have a disdain and somewhat respect for Shane, but she has more disdain than respect for Shane, in my opinion. So, you know, they go, they meet her, they find her. And, you know, Haley and Taylor tell her that, hey, man, we heard there's a Jaeger here. You know, we're just looking. She's like, well, you're going to be looking. Don't be looking in that thing, because you're going to attract freaking Copperhead, or you're going to attract any other kaiju. So they exit a Atlas Destroyer, and then they follow May down, and May's like, well, look, I'll let you go down here. You guys can check however you want, but you're not doing it through the Jaeger. So, and that's where they have another interaction where May starts, you know, having memories start popping up in that little cafe that she knows the cafe for some reason, or she remembers it for some reason. And then that's how they have she sees Boy. Yeah. What was that?
I was going to say the memory she's getting is from our childhood, and the cafe that she's in must be how it alluded, because there's a scene, I don't know if it's in the second series, where Shane goes past it in the car, and he looked at Kathy as well. I think
Yeah.
that is the Kathy that Shane abducted her from as a child.
Yeah.
And
I think it has that connection, and then well, she's gonna accept him out and everything, and then she right before that, Boy looks at her and waves, and she senses some kind of like a remorse, or she senses like, okay, you know what, let me do something for him, whatever. So she makes some hot chocolate, they talk, they interact, and then they end up, one of the jukeboxes turns on, and then they all like, this is one of the few parts of the movies where they, it's not dark, it's not gritty, it's like, okay, here's one of the happier parts of the series, actually for season 1. And this is where May starts, she starts opening up more. She starts opening up to Haley, Boy, and Taylor, but then because of Shane, because of that the way he has brainwashed her, she can't even do that. She can't even have a little bit, maybe 5 minutes of fun, or 5 minutes of loosening, or how do you say it, of just loosening up and forgetting about.
She starts dancing, and then suddenly she must get a flashback in her head of something that's happened from her past. And she stops dancing, and she switches the machine off and goes, that's enough of that.
Take it easy, Jake.
Peace out, Jake. Peace out, Jake, man. Have a good night, bro. Thank you for joining the stream. But you're right. I mean, it's there, and then she goes back to, she has to go back to her, her rugged style. Like, you know what? I gotta, she's more, you could tell she's more hardened than reserved. She's more hardened than she can be reserved, but she's more hardened as a person, as a survivor. So that's where her survival instincts. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like Stockholm syndrome, because like you say, when what Kevin said, she's having a little bit of, being alive, being human, having a time where, it's like open up and, just live a little bit. But the progress of Shane, affecting her brain like that, that's it's something that goes back to that, knowing that she's been with him for a long time, since childhood, and it's still, even when she gets that little taste of, happiness, something comes along and just fucks it up for her, and it's just like, and that's why I feel like it's almost a Stockholm syndrome, something, because you got to think to yourself, I've been with this guy for so long, and he be doing some ruthless shit. I've had to do some ruthless shit myself. But why is it that I can't just leave mentally from that? Because it's like you can, but you seem like you're still holding on to the past there, and it's like that for that character, it shows right there that, she's got a lot of just letting go, because, like I say, Shane's a bastard, but it's like, girlfriend, you can move on if you want to try, but you can live, and be with Taylor and Haley and with Boy. I think that helped her, gradually open up and realize, like, I can't be in this stalemate. I got to move on. I got to move away from what that was. But it's just crazy, because you think that she would, but like, no. Some people get stuck in that mindset. So
she knows she has the power to leave him, but that she can't, because she feels she has a connection to him, or she feels she owes him something. Maybe she feels that she owes him something because
she's torn, isn't she, with her emotions and her feelings. On one side, she hates him for what he's done, but she still feels like she's like close to him, like a father figure, even though he's hurt her so badly by lying to her with this secret that he's held for so long, that what happened to her parents wasn't the truth.
Yeah.
That it was
Thanks a lot, Gojira51, man. We got 7 likes so far. I don't know why I can't see that from my StreamYard broadcast room, but hey, thanks. Gojira51. So far, guys, we got 7 likes, and hey, man, I'll take that. I don't mind that. A lot more likes than I thought.
So we'll move on to what happened next. Like, they find the Jaeger, and it happens to be the Jaeger that the parents were piloting.
Yeah, Hunter Vertigo. They end up fighting. They end up fighting what remains, the remains of Hunter Vertigo. And like say, I'll give it to. Okay, well, like I said, Haley finds Hunter Vertigo, and then they find out that but they do find a video where they found out their parents had escaped. The mom and the dad had escaped. So from there, and then that's when they go back. They think that their parents are dead. They're dead. They don't really know. They don't have no confirmation that their parents are either alive or they're dead, but they think they are. They think they're alive. So they go back here. They go back to. They're planning on going back to Atlas Destroyer so they can move on. And then Walter, I'll let you take this away. Now we go in. Fucking Copperhead comes back.
I was gonna say that.
The final battle, the final part of season 1. Take it away from there, where freaking Haley almost gets killed. Boy saves her, and we'll find out what Boy is. So take it away from there, man.
Okay, first off, when Copperhead comes along, he chases right after the Jaeger that they were in, and I have to say this: Lois says like, of course. Rams her, knocks it down. But they're doing a whole lot of spill. They get to the Jaeger and everything. Haley and no, not Haley, May and Taylor. They get to the Jaeger. They drift and everything. They start fighting, and they use that that new hand. It's got that that spear thing. Well. Boy and Haley are on the ground there, and Boy starts to sense this, protecting her, and he's just like, you ain't messing with this person that's good to me, and all of a sudden he starts to get this kind of, aggression right then and there, and when Copperhead comes towards him, he all of a sudden shields her, and then it just blows. Then it's just like. The energy just blows up, and then he's like, "Oh shit, he's a Jaeger. Well, not a Jaeger, but a kaiju, but a hybrid kaiju." And when you see that, it's like, "Oh shit," And then when he starts battling him, battling Copperhead, he's trying to do all he can, And Haley, Taylor, and May, they say. Shoot this! Throw that damn spear at him, and everything. But then Haley gets the idea. There's pretty much a nuke with a missile still locked in that old Jaeger. So she goes back, goes to get it, try to dislodge it and everything. They did shoot him, Taylor and May hit him in the chest, but it just kind of opened a wound to him, everything. So when Haley gets that missile fired up because he's like, "Well, nothing's working. Where's the AI?" And then she gets it, and then she finds out. Oh, and she asks a little, "Well, what you got to do? You got to reprogram or whatever." Does that? Then the coolest thing, she's able to shoot that damn missile, and it ends up right into Copperhead's chest, and it's just like. Yeah, motherfucker, this is what's gonna happen to you. I was like, thank you, yes, blow your ass up, And I was like, thank you. I was like, that was so justifiable enjoyment right there, because I was like, this bitch has been here all this damn time, and I'm just like, thank you, get the fuck out of here, And I'm like, you got blown up. But having discarded him, we see, okay, we're taking May because she's part of the group. But we also see that Boy, he's still in the kaiju mode. But when Haley goes back down to him, and it's like, how are we going to change it back? She shows him compassion and everything, says something to him, and he shrinks back down, shrinks back down to his boy's self. But he's scarred a little bit from that change. Why? I don't know. So they take him, they all go in the Jaeger, and they say they head to the safe haven where some people are. This is where we get a glimpse, because they mentioned it earlier. This is where we get a glimpse of one of the sisters. The sisters. Look, we thought Shane was bad. We thought some other people were. these sisters, when we leave from here, we're gonna find out these are some unholy fucking. Ooh, they are really rowdy in who they are. So we left with that notion of who they are. But once we leave into it, we're like, who are these mystery women? So, but that's kind of wraps up what season 1 was a little bit. I mean, it might be a little bit more. You probably add on a little bit more to that. But that was a good episode on itself, knowing that it ended with the destruction of Copperhead, but it left off to another antagonist. That's a group that's gonna just like really shake up season 2, and they are ruthless. The sisters are ruthless. I didn't think how ruthless they really were. I mean, because usually wouldn't think a female would be so bad, but these women are like, no, they are like.
No, I've met a few nasty bitches, Tristers. But these women are the real deal.
Oh God, that's
the sister of the kaiju.
Oh shit, that's okay.
And I have a confession. I probably would not have watched season 2 of Pacific Rim the Black if it didn't end with their appearance, because when I seen Boy turn into the kaiju hybrid, because I had started watching Attack on Titan, and I still haven't even completed that show, but I thought this is now turning from Pacific Rim into that show, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I like it. I don't know how it's going to go. In that final scene where you see them standing, the 3 sisters watching out as the Jaeger's going away, and she declared the Messiah has come, I instantly went, here we go. I'm watching season 2, and it's probably
I like that.
It's probably the best decision I made to watch the second season.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, man. I kind of, you know what, Kevin? I was kind of, what do you call it? You know what? I was kind of the same way, man. I had that kind of same outlook when I saw towards the end of the last season, season 1, where who are these hooded women, or these hooded masked, priestesses, or whatever they're called, or whatever they're considered. And I was like, man, it's so good. I mean, don't like, but then once like I said, once I got into, once it got into their backstory, what they represent, the sisters of the kaiju, okay, it was an interesting take, and it worked, which was great. That's what I did like, that it went with the storyline and with the sci-fi aspect, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I mean,
well, you see, my why I decided to watch season 2 was because of the look of the characters. Because when I seen Boy transform, I just went, oh, they're just gonna do a Attack on Titan ripoff, and I thought, oh, I can't be fucked with that. But when I seen the sisters, the masks, the hooded cloaks, I got a vibe, and I thought, oh, I need to watch the second season, because they've ended it on such a high with the battle with Copperhead, the Copperhead's death, Boy's reveal, and then showing these 3 female characters watching it all happen from a distance. That's going to lead into something. Hopefully that'll be worthwhile, and it was worthwhile. The second season takes the first season up a notch by 100.
Yeah, definitely, man. And like I said, now from there, I'll start off with the beginning part of the, well, not the beginning part, but I'll start off with season 2, and of course season 2 ends on on the, like Kevin was saying, Copperhead's finally fucking dead, and trust me. Why is it that all the kaijus in all the movies were so easily killed, but yet they fucking took like 10 days to kill Copperhead? You know what I mean?
Writing.
That's a good,
fucking writing, and fucking studio interference, and because they haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing.
Exactly. Hey, Eric. Hey, bro. Thank you for joining. Bro. Have a good one. And always thanks for always supporting my channel, supporting the Sci-Fi Society, man. And it's always a pleasure to have you on the stream, man. But yeah, take care, bro. Hey, G-Fest next year, brother. Me and Walter will be there at G-Fest next year, man. In case if everything goes well, we'll see you there on G-Fest, man. But take care, brother. Take care.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Like you were saying, Kevin. It was like, it was bad writing, but hey, you know what? At least that kaiju lasted and didn't die like in the first 3 minutes of an episode. So that was cool. So okay, so now we go starting off. Boy shrinks back down, but then like Walter was saying, has a scar, and one of his eyes stays red, and the other one goes back to normal, but the other eye stays red. So he runs off. He's still a little primal. He's still trying to unwind from the battle with Copperhead, and he runs off. And then some rippers, the what do you call it? The
kaiju.
What are they called? No. What were the sisters? The sisters of the kaiju start using their rippers to look for their so-called messiah, because they think that is the messiah. So the rippers are going there, and Boy and Haley and Taylor are all they're like, hey, what the hell's going on? What's this? What's that? And then they're all bickering and arguing on what's going to happen, this and that. They're worried about Boy. Taylor
Haley's worried about Boy. Haley wants to find Boy because he's run off. Taylor doesn't want to find him and thinks, well, he's a kaiju, he's dangerous, he's unpredictable. But Haley's like, no, it's still Boy. He's still just a little child. We need to look after him. So he runs off. And this is the best thing. Boy is a fucking badass. Like, he goes down the alleyway, and then you've got the Ripper dogs, the kaiju dogs, and he just fucks them up.
He kills them.
Jumps up and he hits one right in the back of the head, and its head just explodes.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely awesome. And then they're following and this is how Taylor and Haley know how to find him, because after he kills the first Ripper dog, he stepped in its neon blue blood, and there's blue tracks. So it's like Hansel and Gretel that have to follow the breadcrumbs. They just have to follow the blue neo blood footprints to find him.
Yeah. It makes it easy because it makes it easy for them to find Boy. But then, unfortunately, Boy runs into the sisters of the kaiju, and one of the sisters tries to take Boy, which was stupid. I don't know why she would try to take him like that. Tries to grab him or to take him, and he ends up breaking her hand, breaking her arm, and then one of the other sisters is more prepared and uses the kaiju tick to bring Boy down, and the kaiju tick just like, man, it's not that it's scary, but it was kind of freaky, and jumps on Boy, bites him, lays him out, and then because they know that's the only thing that could bring him down, so they do that, and then unfortunately the sisters didn't get a chance to take him because they heard Haley, May, and Taylor coming, so they find Boy like that with a huge ass kaiju tick on him. So they're like, what the hell do we do? And this is the part where it really starts testing their mental capacity at this point, because they just got through a battle. They found out Boy's a kaiju. Taylor's going into protective mode. May's going into survival mode again. And then Haley's like,
just like rescue.
He's in between because like, we gotta save him. She's having a breakdown because she thinks he's gonna die. So this is where their loyalties and their true mental strength has to show through, because they're like, fuck, what do we do? Now they have a Jaeger. They have a Jaeger to protect them, but now it's a battle between them. It's a mental battle. So so they all come to a conclusion. And what was a cool part was when May says that, what, I know this guy that knows this. He's a kaiju whisperer supposedly, and maybe he can help Boy. But she's like, maybe. I'm not saying he will, but I'm not saying he won't. So let's do it. So and what it was a cool part was a cool part about the storytelling, and I'm pretty sure Kevin will agree, is when they're both driving the Jaeger, they're both piloting the Jaeger. It's they're not talking, but Haley's there, taking care of Boy, but they're fucking arguing within the drift.
Yeah, they're arguing within the drift. Yes, that was brilliant storytelling.
I was like, wow.
Like Haley's just sitting there looking after Boy, who's practically dying of the poison. Oh, and we forgot to mention that they had this argument prior to them going looking for Boy. Was like, I'm leaving, and he went with Haley to find Boy. So Haley wasn't there when they went to find Boy, and they bring Boy with the tick on his chest to me, and they're like, how do I help him? And she just gets a gun and blows it away. She fucking shoots it and blows it away, but the damage is done. The poison set into his chest, and so he's lying there. And she's just comforting him, and me and Taylor are literally just piloting, and then you have the scenes of them arguing within the drift.
Yeah,
and Haley's just looking at them, thinking they're not even speaking to each other, but they really are. But inside the drift, it was just very imaginative storytelling.
I think that was a really good take on that. I like that.
That was like I said, that was very good. Like freaking. That was a great freaking way to add to the drama. It adds to the drama. It adds to to the suspense, because this series has drama. It has suspense. It's got action. It's got pain. It's got some happy parts. So it's got everything, and that's what I like. It's got a dark tone. Everything is good. That's what I like about it. And then so from there I'll finish at when they get to the what do you call it? They get to
Never Valley.
Yeah. Was it the Kaiju Valley?
No, the Never. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Never. Yeah, they go to the Never Valley, and it's fucking surrounded by fucking kaijus, man. Over what did Lois say? Over 15 or 12 or a dozen?
12 or 15, something like that. Yeah. It was too much. I know that much.
Kaijus, man. Kaiju.
And the best of all of the kaiju was Lucy.
Oh, yeah. Lucy. Yep.
Lucy is once again another throwback to the Pacific Rim film, because it was Trespasser. It was another trespasser who was featured in the first film.
Yeah. So from there, I'll leave it to you, Kaiju Pimp Daddy Goodness. Take it from there, man.
So they get to the valley, and it's just wall of kaiju, and they're arguing what they're going to do. And Haley wants to just jump right into the valley, which would be suicidal. Taylor and Mia arguing. And so
keep
going. Not one of them has an opportunity to really, they're arguing amongst, but before they even have a chance to have a decision, a fucking acid quill sneaks up on them and knocks them into the valley.
Right.
So they're stuck in the friggin', they have no choice, and this kaiju heading towards them.
Yeah.
And then in the distance, they get distracted by the Ripper dogs? I keep forgetting the name.
Yeah, they're Ripper dogs.
Rippers. Yeah,
the Ripper dogs. Suddenly, a load of them get released into the valley from some hatch. And the kaiju go running after the Ripper dog and start ripping them apart and feeding on them. And then they suddenly see this light come from nowhere, and it's this little man, this little creepy man, this little fucked up mental man. He's like, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of the little creepy man scientist out of Godzilla Singular Point who created Jet Jaguar.
Oh, I see that. I see that.
Like his face is like.
Yeah, it's Mr. Otaki. Yeah, one eye is straight, the other one's crooked.
So he basically leads them away from the kaiju, saves them basically, because if he hadn't interfered, they would have been destroyed.
Yeah.
And then when they introduced to him, they plead for his help to save Boy. and they keep asking him what his name is, and he says about 10 different names, and then he settles about, oh, what are you called? Bunyan Man.
Bunyip Man.
Bunyan Man.
Bunyip Man. They should have stuck with Lefty.
Yeah, it's like, hey, righty. Yeah.
Because he was missing his left hand.
Right. Because he said he got a little careless with Lucy, so.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going, Kev.
So, anyway, but
we get introduced to Lucy.
He introduces Lucy, who's like a 300 foot tall trespasser kaiju, and he manages to get her away, and he plans on giving Boy some antidote that he doesn't know is going to work.
Yeah.
And then those horrible bitches, those fucked up bitches, the kaiju, the sisters of the kaiju, decide to slaughter all of his remaining supply of the Ripper dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the kaiju clearly are hungry. They start creating lots of like distractions from what's going on. And Bunyip Man goes up to Lucy. Hello, girl, I love you. We've got a misunderstanding. Then she fucking eats him.
Yeah.
She just bites him in half, basically, and chomps him. And before that, Bunyip Man goes to feed the kaiju and realizes that the kaiju sisters have arrived.
Yep.
And they've destroyed his supply of food.
Mm-hmm.
And so he panics, runs up to Lucy, and then chaos erupts.
Yep. Trespasser.
It's all a ploy to try and get Boy away from Haley, Taylor, and May.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy how even May, even when they're going through everything, when Trespasser Lucy starts, destroying the mountaintop where Bunyip Man's little cabin is and stuff like that. And even May says he's like stupid fool, thought that he tamed them, but he was just, all they wanted was his food.
Yeah.
They thought that he really thought that he had tamed her. He's like, no, dude, what if she chopped off, she ate his hand when she was an infant. Wouldn't that teach you? I mean, come on, man. I mean, she ate your hand, and yet you still, oh, my Lucy. I'm like, come on, bro.
Dude.
It's like the equivalent of having a great white shark in a fish tank and thinking you've tamed it. It's just,
yeah, exactly.
I don't think so. If you fell in the fish tank, the great white shark's gonna fucking eat you. So,
exactly, man.
So he was just crazy. He was just crazy to think he had tamed the kaiju. But of course, it's all about the kaiju sisters distracting them too. And then it's something happens, and then Shane turns up.
Yeah. They barely get away. They barely get away from all 12 or how many 15 kaijus by cutting into that valley, that little crevice, where even the kaijus stop. Even the kaijus don't even get past. They don't even pass that point, and they go with Atlas Destroyer. And the crazy thing that was a little eerie, and it kind of it's also a great plot. A little part of the plot that they added was where they get to the end of that valley when they get out of the Never Never, and then they see a huge freaking like fire where it says "Give up the boy."
Yeah,
we want the boy.
It's like,
and seeing that I mean, you would not think that would work in a movie, but it works in anime, so it works. So it worked, and then like I said, from there. That's when Taylor makes the hard choice decision to hand over Boy to the sisters so they can escape and get away. And I kind of like, you know what? I wasn't against it because I figured Boy would understand, because remember when he goes out and, you know, fixes the Jaeger, because they sabotaged the Jaeger too, which was crazy. The freaking sisters get on top and sabotage the Jaeger from up top, one of the conduits. And then they're like, and then this is where Taylor kind of like his mental is getting tested, because he's like, man, well, what do I do? Like, I'm stuck between saving my sister and this woman, and you know, there's what options do I have? So we had to make a hard decision. So what he does is, he ends up giving the Sisters of the Kaiju. He ends up giving Boy to them, and but and even Boy, you guys saw right when Taylor apologized to Boy smiled at him. He didn't even get mad. He smiled at him. And he smiled, and I was like, wow, because he understands what he's doing and why he's doing it. He knows he's trying to protect his sister and try to protect May. That's why he did it. And then from there, well, he hands him over, and then like I was like, wow, man. I was like, and I was thinking, you know, you're already into this. Like, we're already all into the show. And then right when Haley got up, when she got up, and then you just see Taylor like right there, like with his head hunched down like that. And then she automatically knows. She's like, oh, I can't believe you did that. And I was like,
even me was against him giving.
Yeah, May. I mean, she's a survivalist, but May was just like, why? You just handed over our own the way she looked at it was a bargaining chip, but it's like, even she kind of felt like, no, you just gave away somebody that's part of our family here, you know. It's like, what are you thinking, you know? But he was on a survival mode, you know. But as you say, he was kind of conflicted about how we're going to do this. What's the right point of action here, you know? But there really wasn't one, you know. I mean, you just got to take the good with the bad, which is all bad, really, you know. But that's the thing that is crazy, how this show does some things that you weren't expecting. And the one thing you expect.
Peace out, little Loki, man. Take it easy, bro. Sorry about that. Peace out, Loki.
Yeah. No, he's good. Oh, yeah, he's good. Now, you know, Shane is there. He, I think he attacks one of the sisters. I forget how it worked. But he unmasked one of the sisters.
Well, what happens is because obviously the kaiju are connected to the sister.
Yeah.
So this is how smart the sisters are. When they were chased into the valley and they stopped, and you see the walk, and there's loads of loads of Jaeger parts,
debris, debris and parts.
Yeah, and that's when we've entered into the territory of the Sisters of the Kaiju. The reason that the kaiju stopped, I believe, is because the sisters who have got a psychic link told them to chase them and stop them, to force them into the valley. And then when they had Boy, when they got Boy, Taylor so naive, he just assumed that they wouldn't bother attacking them or trying to kill them, that they would let them go free. Well, that's not what happened. They sent the kaiju after them. And it was Shane, I think, saved them. And how Shane saved them is he was behind the sister and he killed two of them. And then
Spider had electrocuted one of them.
So Shane killed two of them. And then Spider electrocuted, tasered basically the third one. And when she was knocked unconscious, the kaiju stopped attacking and chasing them because her psychic link to them was broken.
Yep. And that's crazy how the Sisters of the Kaiju have a psychic link to these. Remember, these are hybrids too. They're not regular kaijus, they're hybrid kaijus.
Right.
So they're also hybrid kaijus, and that's why they have a connection. They don't have a connection to regular kaijus like the ones from the Never Never. They have connections to hybrid kaijus like Boy. So it's like that was a crazy part. And remember about that part, that even what I did like about the evolution of Taylor as his character as he started getting mentally tougher was that he told the Sisters of a Kaiju, but look, I'm giving you boy, but do not think that if you want to fight, we'll give you one.
Right. He
says that you want to fight. Yeah, you want to fight with Atlas Destroyer, we'll give you one. You want to threaten us, we'll give you a fight. And that's why it was part of his evolution as a leader. It was a part of his evolution as a leader.
100%.
Kaylee was the glue. May was the soldier, but Taylor was the leader. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. And now, like I said, we get that we get to a point where Shane, Shane and what was his name? And Spider, they end up catching up with Atlas Destroyer on this freaking crazy ass freaking dune buggy, which fucking insane. It was a crazy ass dune buggy.
It's a badass vehicle, I have to say.
They catch up. Huh?
I would buy one.
Oh hell yeah, man! Sure, yeah. And then so they head and catch up with Atlas Destroyer, and they bring their prisoner with them. And now I'm gonna leave it to Jedi Granville. Jedi Granville from this part, we'll head into when they get into what happens between Shane and the prisoner. So take it from there.
The big surprise, because it surprised the hell out of me. I was just like, I was not expecting this. I'm thinking this one of these sisters, just random person and everything. But when we reveal who this person is, when Shane moves that mask, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That's the mom? Yeah. This is when you come to find out the sisters, they hunt for these they when I say hunt, they actually kidnap other women, but they kill men for their group. And I'm just like, they're like a cult. That's why I say these are some cold-blooded. Just say it, cold-blooded cunts. These some cold-blooded cunts that they don't give a fuck about them. Yeah, they kill the men, but they recruit these women and make them part of, pretty much brainwash them in a way, because you see how, in effect, the mom was Brianna. I think her name was Brianna. I think
Brina,
right? Brina. When Taylor tries to say, "Mom, how are you? Are you okay?" And she's like, get away. She's still interlocked with the sisters. She hasn't been broke from that, from the link and everything. They have a link.
The way she was going on, just sitting there and just like trying to bait them. She come across like a zombie.
That's pretty much what she's coming across as, and it's like, it's scary, but it's something that you said, Daniel. This is a character moment later on with Shane. Why would he do what he does next for Haley and Taylor? He's able to try to break that link from the sisters with his help. And I'm just like, I felt that it was kind of weird, because I'm kind of like you. That's kind of weird. Why would he do this? But I think that goes back to something with May. Even though he treated her, kind of rough, whatnot, he still had that kind of father instinct towards her. He still felt like a child to her, a father to her, and everything. So I feel he did that to say that, well, let me try to save their mother for these kids. And when he does this, it's like, okay, that's a kind of different. That doesn't seem like characteristic of him. But it's
when he first decides to help them, if we backtrack a little bit,
okay.
He says, "Oh, I can do this link, and I'll do the link for you." And May looks at him and goes, "He's not doing it for free. He wants something." He's showing that he's still a douchebag. He's still he's still an arsehole.
Right.
And she's like, he'll not do this for free. He wants the Jaeger. He wants something out of it. And it's during this process of her arguing with Shane that she turns round and she goes, why can't you just be nice? If you loved us, if you cared about us, you would just do this for me. You shouldn't be asking for anything in return.
Right.
And then he does the link. And I don't know about you two, but when he goes into her mind and he's trying to break the link from the sisters. 1 minute it's like our world, and the next thing you see dust, and the world's falling apart. It's going to great. It felt like a bit like Stranger Things. Like one side it was normal, the other side was like they were entering the upside down.
The upside down, yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, great analogy. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Honestly,
because everything's turning to dust around them because the sisters are trying to wipe all of our memories,
right?
While trying to keep it under their control. But there's this one particular memory that they cannot break through, and that's with Taylor as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when Haley was really born. When Haley was really born, yeah. Keep going.
So Shane's trying to battle through her mind. And he gets to this door, and he gets through the door, and it locks behind him, and he meets the mother, like the mother within her mind.
Yeah.
And he's basically saying, I'm going to get you out. She's saying, I can't leave this room. I'm trapped here. It's the only place I'm safe. But he convinces us to leave, and then they leave the room, and just like I say, everything's falling around them, and then Shane gets to the point where they're both standing there and they're going to end up getting lost within the mind. And then Shane picks her up and throws her towards the light, which is like his redemption storyline.
Right.
And she flies through the light and she breaks out of this coma, out of this trance, out of the lock, out of being controlled. But unfortunately, Shane, his heart stops and he dies.
Yeah.
And I wish, as much as I want to see, I felt sorry for him. I'm glad that fucker's dead.
I would wholeheartedly agree with you, because I was like, okay, he did some shady shit. But surprisingly, I kind of felt a little bad for him, because he did a sacrifice that he was, like I said, he was trying to get something out of it. But I guess in the end, he realized, like, I actually did something that was actually more worthy than trying to get some Jaeger or anything like that. And like I say, May, she couldn't stand him, for a good while. But when she sees that he did something worthwhile, she felt pain after that. She really felt that pain. And this is what leads to something that I didn't think they'd see in the show to happen, was when Spider, buries him. I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but when he buries him and everything, May say, only dogs, stay with their masters. And Spider actually explains to her, it's like he said he wasn't going to say he was going to come back. He said, but he lied to me. He lied in saying that he was going to come back. And he said, well, this is part of the reason why he gave me this to give to you, because he wasn't going to come back. And he gave her that memory chip that had all her original memories. And it's just like, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is going to sound crazy coming from me, but that shit actually got me kind of watering up, eyes wide, because I'm like, did he actually do something that actually was, redeeming him? Because it's like, if he did, it's like, dude, that was a total 180 for his character, for him to do that. Because Shane, like you say, Shane was a fucking bastard. I'm sorry, he was. But I guess that shows somewhere deep down, he really did have a heart for something, and May was one of those things. And him doing that for her, having the original memories from her past, I'm just like, okay. And like I say, Spider, told us, like, leave these people, just leave them, I mean, you don't got to be, they're not your family, whatever, May was conflicted, and before you know it, you see Spider just run off, because, like, why am I going to stay here? Because the sisters are going to come after your ass, why do I stay here, But May say, maybe Shane might have been this over top asshole, but she realizes like maybe he's more of a father than I thought he was, you know. And I think that
he finally did something for her without asking for anything in return.
Yeah.
He finally showed that he'd actually really genuinely cared for her, other than just using her. Or I think Shane. See, the thing is, this is what I talked about before when I said there's certain storylines or there's certain plots we're never going to get answers to. So, for example, he has one of them. He kidnapped her as a child, but why did he kidnap her? Why did he feel he had to steal a child from our parents? What was his motivation behind it? We don't find any of that out. We just know that he's a bad guy who stole this person as a child, wiped her memories, created a false life. He's been exposed, and now he's trying to make up for his mistakes, and he sacrifices himself by saving their mom and giving her original memories back. But I've always found, because I hated him in the first season, and that was the intent. And like you said before, Daniel, you made a good point where you hated him and you were made to hate him, and the voice actor did the job.
Yeah.
And I just think, wouldn't it be nice if I got a backstory why he did what he did, which we probably won't get. But it was nice that he kind of did redeem himself, but because he was such an arsehole in the first season, I was glad he was dead, personally.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, my take on it is, oh yeah, he was a shit stick and a half. He was a 6-foot shit stick, and I give him some respect for the fact that he went in there, and he even said one thing that did get me too, but it didn't get me emotional, but it did kind of make me think, oh, okay, well, he's not such a douchebag after all. Is when he said, was when he was getting Brina out through the Neuralink, when the sisters were consuming her memories. She said, "This is the only memory I have left." He's like, "Yeah, it may be your last memory, but make new ones."
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, "Make new ones," and then he throws her up, and then he's totally consumed. And he had a smile on his face when he died. He had a smile on his face. So, yeah, I had some satisfaction when he died, but it was at least one honorable deed that he did was by doing that. So
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it's an honorable thing. It's redemption. Yeah, you could say he redeemed himself. Yeah, he did. But just the fact that he was such a fucking, shit, he was a fucking, piece of shit. Well, it's
hard to have sympathy when he was such an arsehole in the first season. But
yeah, and then
like you say, the only redeeming quality is that he did it for me, to prove that he did care for her.
Yeah, like he did that. That's where I just see it as he had a sense of honor. That was the closest to him having honor was sacrificing himself. And he even said it. He told Taylor, like, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for you or your sister or your mom. I'm doing it for me. And that's what he did. And he said it. And he even told her when he was in there with her, he said, "Why are you doing this?" He said, "I'm not doing it for you." He told Brina, "I'm not doing it for you." And it's like, and that still made me think, like, God damn, you're still a dick, even though you're not gonna die, even though you're gonna fucking die, you're still a dick. So I'm like, okay, well, anyway, like I said, from there he dies. The mother comes back, and then when freaking Shane, when they wake up from the neural bridge, Shane falls down, he's dead, and then May I didn't think May was gonna break down, but she does. So I'm like, she ends up breaking down and shit. So I was like, oh shit, but then you can tell, like, she didn't mourn it that much. Like she didn't mourn as much as you thought she would, but she did. That was the closest thing to a father that she ever had.
Yeah.
So that's why she took it a little bit hard. But I mean, even like I said, even God damn it, keep forgetting that little midget's name, Spider. Even Spider said, like, when he gives her the memory chips, the memory keys, he's like, he never stole your memories. He told him. He told her, he never stole your memory. That's it. And then that's where they leave it, and that's where they go for from there. Then now the mom is back. She's now that shit stick freaking Shane is dead, well, I don't think many people are gonna know him. So he's dead. And so now the mother, the mother sees them, and it's 5 years past, and she sees, wow, they're older. She doesn't remember stuff. She got captured by the sisters, and she didn't even remember. She didn't even remember if her husband Ford had got away or not. She didn't even remember that. I don't know if you guys remember that. She didn't even know that.
She did. She didn't even know what had happened to the husband.
Yeah, she didn't know. So
that's there, what and then they blind out the person they catch memories. That shows how vicious they are. They are vicious to say, we don't want you to think human. We want you to think, like this.
Yeah, like she was like exactly how Kaiju Goodness said, it's a fucking cult. They brainwash you, but they brainwashed her and everything.
There is a reveal though, isn't there? The reveal is she gave herself up to the sisters to save the husband, but she didn't know if the husband was saved if he died, if they still killed him or let him go.
Yeah.
Because so she sacrificed herself and allowed her to be taken in by the sisters of the Kaiju to try and save her husband.
Yeah. So
that's why she doesn't know if he's still alive or what happened to him or if he's missing, or because she gave herself up to save him.
Yeah. That was well that's the thing. They hardly didn't do. It wasn't that much of a reveal. They didn't. Well, I wish they would have elaborated more on it and put it into the story, but it was vague. It was very vague.
Yeah,
it was very vague. But I mean, but no, from there now, even see Kate. This is where Kaylee starts to grow on me more. Where she just doesn't give up, man. She doesn't. She's already. Yes. They're already bickering. She's still pissed off at freaking Taylor for giving up Boy, and they end up But once she tells her mom, like, look, mom, he's a part of our family. He's this, and even the mom told her he's lost. They already have him. He's lost. We can't give him. We can't save him. But then I admired her tenacity and her freaking she was tenacious. So then. When Taylor and May join them trying to rescue Boy, that's where Haley, gains that trust back Taylor gains Kaylee's trust back after he agrees to go, let's go save him, this and that. And then everything kind of goes to shit when, they start finding out when they go to that temple or the main headquarters, which she still remembers because she also has a mental connection to the sisters and to the main one. To the main sister who runs all this. So that's how they find the hideout, and she's also a soldier. So she knows the mom Brina. She's also a soldier, so she knows how to be this, how to do that. She's tough and strong also. So it's like, but she could still get brainwashed again. She could still fall back into the sister's control, which is what she told him. She told him ahead of time. So she does that. She tries to go in and take the boy, but then shit doesn't go the way they plan, and then she gets taken under control again. But it's a good thing May infiltrated within the sisters' little prayer group, and she's the one that actually takes Boy and freaking and rescues him, and then at the cost of Brina, trying to protect her kids and breaking out of the mind control, and then what the good thing is that Brina does, she makes time for them to escape, for May, Taylor, and Haley to escape, but unfortunately she gets badly wounded. Yes. She gets badly wounded. But yet she still makes it back to the Jaeger. And this is where another brilliant motherfucking part of the fucking story is shown. And should I which one do you guys want to take it? You want to take it?
You might want to take it, Kevin. I think you could do it better than I can. I mean, it's a fucking yes. It's a beautiful music.
I don't mind taking it. Oh, you're gonna because this is the bit that totally shocked me.
Okay, watch this. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it, and I'll explain it, and then we'll all talk about it. We'll all talk about it because it's almost after that we're almost done. After that we're almost done.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Okay. So this part is where now I mean, and it played well into the story until when they escape. It played right into after they escaped, and you know they're all in the Jaeger. Mm-hmm. I think they're all in the Jaeger, and it's
and don't forget the sisters on their tail too. Don't forget that.
But boy, what do you call it? Boy, the sisters are still in the tail, but Boy's there, Haley's there, the mom is there, still kind of wounded, and it's May and Taylor piloting the Jaeger, and then, which was crazy. It threw me off. It threw me off crazy because they actually do make it to Sydney base. They make it to Sydney base. Mm-hmm. And then that's where they all exit the Jaeger, Brina, Haley, May, and Taylor. And then that's where I guess the Marshal, I forgot his Marshal Rast. It was Marshal Rast. And then he hugs Brina. And then it's like everything looks like it's going, everything looks like it's going good. Everything looks like it's going like the way I thought it was. It did fool me. I'm not gonna lie. It fooled the shit out of me because I thought it was, oh shit, they're already there. Like that's fucking quick. Okay, so
I'm like you. I was like, well, is this it? This is the shittest ending to a show that I've. Yeah. It was if that had ended that way, I would be like, this is fucking worse than the ending of Game of Thrones. You motherfuckers, fuck you.
Look, I kind of thought the same. My thought was it's like. Well, if they made it to the city port, it's like, well, there must be some other shit that's going to happen since they're there. Then they're going to have to do battle with the sisters in the kaiju. Maybe that's what's going to happen. But here comes this 180 that's going to cut. It's like when it happens, it's like you think no. Brina starts saying, "What's that sound?" Because when she hugs her husband, does all that. It's like, "What's that sound?" It's like. Haley says, "It's okay, Mom. You don't have to worry about that sound. You made it." Cut back. They're still in the kite, the Jaeger, and you find out, oh shit, that was all simulated. All that was simulated. All the things, them getting there, walking there, meeting, reuniting with the husband and everything, the father meeting with the shit. I was like. You got to be fucking kidding me. You mean to tell me y'all fooled me with that shit? I got fooled, man. I mean, I really didn't think that's what happened. I was like, no, it didn't. Yeah. I was like, what? Yeah. And I was just like, at first I said, you motherfuckers, y'all fucked me over like that. But then I realized, no, this is a good story point because it lets you know they know she's dying. Yes.
And then right and you
know what, man, it for me it was more of a kick in the balls. It was a kick in the balls that made me teary-eyed because when the sound that she's hearing is her life support monitor.
Yes.
It's her life support monitor, and and then it's Haley, the one that's drifting with her, and they're running a neural bridge. They're doing a neural bridge, right. And Loa is actually assisting with the simulation. She's assisting with the simulation, and that's when her life signs start to fade, and she dies. But she dies with the happiest memory of the whole family being reunited. And that shit was like, I was like, whoa. I was like, what the fuck? As a dude, like Walter said, fucking just right over my head, man, right over my head. And I was like, oh man. And it sucked, man, when they're all crying and he was crying. And then, even Taylor says, Loa, thank you for giving our mother this final gift. And even May was like, fuck, this is fucked up. I've seen some fucked up shit, but this is really fucked up. How the way she died.
And you know what it takes me back to? The line Shane said, make new memories.
Yeah.
And her last memory is reuniting with her family. And I find that so poetic that he basically, she had a new happy memory of reconnecting with her family after being under, obviously, controlled by the Sisters of the Kaiju for so long.
Yeah. Hold on. No, you have a point in this. I'm reading the comment that Gojira says. Question: Was this a bad guy wanted to watch or tune out? The best bad guy keeps you watching. No. This guy was the one that you hated him so much that you wanted to keep watching and you wanted to fight and you wanted him to die. That's he's the kind of bad guy that wanted to keep you like connected to the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As
soon as you're introduced to them, you're instantly turned off. You instantly know it's bad news.
Mm-hmm.
And then in these plots throughout the first season, he basically Copperhead was the big bad kaiju, but the real villain was Shane, the character Shane. So for me personally, it's a character that you love to hate, and if you end up loving to hate a character, he's done his job.
It's gonna work.
He's done his job. He did his job with fucking flying colors, man. And there's your answer, Gojira 51. So yeah, man, it was he was the one that I think they did the good job by not putting him in every single episode, which was good.
Right. But I think that's another good way. That's another good way of having it. Sorry for interrupting you. That's another good way of knowing that it's a good villain, because you don't. If you've got the main villain in every episode, it kind of takes away from everything. You need a villain that you can spread out, but you know he's the head. You know he's like still the leader. You know he's still in the background.
Yeah,
you might have villains under him in every episode that are doing his bidding, because you want that surprise when you get back to his scenes in whatever episode. You instantly want to know how bad he's going to be, or you instantly want to know what he's plotting. You know, as soon as you see him on screen, you're like, "Oh shit, there he is."
Yeah,
and
he was. Yeah,
that's a good villain.
Yeah, he was a good villain. He was spaced out and put in the right spots at the right time. Yeah, he was put in. With that, besides that, I mean, now getting back to the part where unfortunately Brina dies, and it's pretty damn dramatic, man. That was for me the most dramatic part of the show, and that's what made me even more invested into the show. It's like, oh, I want more. Like after that, I say, I want more. I want to see more. I want to see more. And then now we get to the point where, boy, unfortunately, they didn't save him on time. He ends up getting possessed again by the sisters who are following. Like as Walter was saying, Walter just he referenced that before, that they were still following the Atlas Destroyer with May, Taylor, and Haley, and boy, unfortunately, he gets taken under control by the sisters and starts attacking Atlas Destroyer. And here is where Apex comes into play again.
Yes.
And Apex, I think, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna pass it to Kevin. What do you call it? I'm gonna say this. Fucking Apex was really one of the main heroes of the series of the second season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah,
he was one. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. What was that? What?
No, I'm just saying that was a surprise that he became to be a protagonist, became a hero. Like wow.
Well, it's like what I said in the beginning when we first mentioned him. When in season 1, he was like an anti-hero. He wasn't a villain. He wasn't a villain or hero, but in this he became a hero. because if it wasn't for him, Boy would have still been under the Kaiju's control. It was because of Apex that they basically survived. If it wasn't for them getting involved, him getting involved and going toe to toe with Boy for a tiny bit. And this shows you that he had personality and character, because when he was possessed Boy and he was going after Apex didn't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
He didn't want to attack him, but he had to try and restrain him. And when Boy was ripping into him and punching him and going for him, and he took every blow. And then you see the blue neon blood coming out, and he rips part of his face off, and you see the kaiju eyes at the side.
Yeah, man. Elaborate more on that before I get to my part. Jedi Grand Bell, let me know what's your opinion on that part, or what was your thoughts on?
Like I say, he's getting a beat down, and like I say, Boy's not that big, but he's very strong, and like I say, this father aspect of Apex, he's just, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to. It's kind of like that Steve Rogers, with the soldier situation, where in the Winter Soldier, where Bucky's just beating the hell out of Steve, but it's like Steve said, I'm not gonna fight you. You're more my friend, which is in here. You're more like a son to me. So, I'm not gonna hurt you. And if it wasn't for them cunts chanting, say, do our bidding, fight through these memories, this is where you said he had to hold him down. Atlas Destroyer had to hold Boy down. It's like, because he's struggling, he's trying to get away from all that. But it's like, hold him down, and Apex, with his last breath, if you want to say that, his last dying thing, he said, I'm giving you back something that you need, which is being more human in terms of mindset, not a hunter, not a killer, not anything. You might have been built, programmed for this, you might have been made for this, but you are not, you have a choice to be something different than what you were created for. And that's the same with Apex. He was created accidentally to be whatever, but he chose to be what he was. And he's giving him something in a redemption kind of way that he's not, like I say, Boy, you're not meant to be this. You don't have to be this. You don't have to be no creature that can destroy and do all these other things. You can choose to actually live to be something better than that. And that's how I kind of look at it in that way.
Yeah, it was. Apex could have easily ripped Boy apart.
Oh yeah.
Apex was on another level, dude. When it comes to Kaiju Mech, he was on another level. Mm-hmm. He look how many Jaegers he destroyed by himself.
By himself, right?
But he had, like I said, he had a connection to Boy, and he also knew who Haley was. So that's why when he was doing his thing, and he was trying to give Boy back the memories of Haley. He was trying to give the memories back so he could come back to his senses. But the sisters kept fucking interfering, and then at this point it sucked that Atlas had been pretty banged up, that some of the systems had gone silent, and they had to reboot because Boy was really beating down on Atlas Destroyer. So it's like, okay, so that happens. Freaking Boy is just like Kevin said, he's stomping on his face, dude, stomping on his face, and Apex is doing nothing. He's taking it. He's taking every single thing, and then he gets up, and then Atlas Destroyer finally tackles Boy, grabs him, and they even Haley yells through the comm. He yells at Apex, finish it, we have him, finish it. So Apex still gets up, freaking bleeding out, dude, just dripping freaking blood, and he grabs Boy, finishes it all, and then right when he's done, right before it finishes, and Boy comes to, freaking, you just see him, boom, he falls to his knees and dies. falls to his knees and dies, man, with his hand still out, sticking out and everything. And then you guys saw how when Boy came to, he's like, Boy screamed in agony, screamed in horror that he did this to his friend, to the only real connection he has to the kaiju and to, to anything else. And that was like, man, that was also a part that really, like, man, I love this show. I kept like, I want more. I kept wanting more. And it was in that, and unfortunately, even when they have to leave now because when this is all going on, the leader of the Sister of the Kaiju summons the High Priestess summons the Breacher, the Category 6 Kaiju, while all this is going on. And that's where, and then, like I said, when Boy comes to, he's still, even Haley and May and Taylor are telling Boy, hey, we gotta go. And then you just see Boy staring at Apex like he wants to stay with him, like he wants to stay there. But he's like, they end up taking off, and they only get to a certain point, and then Haley gets out again. They take a rest, and then Haley gets out of Atlas Destroyer and checks on Boy, and then Boy he's really back to his old self, and him as a kaiju is able to restrain himself while Haley touches him and pets him, which is crazy. Right. And I was like, wow, man. And then from there, and then fuck, dude. I mean, now I'll give it now. Yeah, now from there I'll give it to Jedi Granville. Now from there, when they end up getting ambushed by the lizard types of water-based kaiju, go from there, and then we can finish it off.
Okay, well, before I get to that, let me just say, when you see how serious it gets with the sisters, when they throw out their robes, it's like, oh shit, yeah. It's on now. And I gotta say this: the High Priestess, for whatever reason, she looked jacked. For body wise, I'm like, damn, it's like I wouldn't expect that. I was expecting something frail or something like that. Now she's a jacked up individual, a woman. I was like, I'd probably do it. But anyway, it's like it gets to that point, and yeah, they're getting sent all kinds, because we hear that they got attacked earlier by some other kaijus, because the sisters are sending all kinds of shit at them, whatever. And they beat them damn lizard things down, and I think it was they beat one of the lizards, but then Boy takes one of them, just cracks his neck, and it's like done, over. Yeah. This is when you show, because I didn't realize how close they were. They were closer to the Sydney base than you think they are. And like I say, the sisters are hot on the tail. But here comes that Category 6. He is booking, or is it a she? I don't know. I never really got the tone of is it a she or he, whatever.
They didn't elaborate what it was, but
well, the fact is he's on their tail, and he's a big sucker, and like and the sisters are way behind him, trying to control him and everything. And while they're doing this, Haley and Taylor are calling the base, saying, look, we're survivors in the black. We're here. We're trying to get some assistance. They send out some Jaegers to shoot these missiles. And the part I love about this is they hit the kaiju, the Breacher. They hit him, but the sisters hit that. I'm like, thank you, bitch, your ass up, man. I was like, yes, pull them fucking bitches up, shit, But when they tell him, because the Breacher, the Breacher, he starts wailing on the Apex Destroyer. He just like pounding them, beating the fuck out of him. I was like, and I was just like, damn, it's like this shit can't be happening, but they getting weaker, and the thing is getting beat down more and more. And Taylor says, we need some assistance here. We need something like, and they do a check, and they say, we heard that thing was supposed to have been melted down or blown up or anything like that. Well, it's probably a roof. Like, are y'all fucking kidding me right now with this shit? So they keep fighting, they keep doing. We see that the priestess is still alive. How, I don't know. and she managed to see that boy. I think he got in a few licks with that Category 6, but he shrinks back down to his human self. She kidnapped him. May sees this, goes after her, and the priestess, boy, this shows right there that early before, May knew about the sisters pretty well, but we didn't realize, and it's that kind of thing right there. We don't see it, but May might have had been connected or brainwashed by them early in the show. We don't really know, but we see that the priestess is seeing the kaiju beating the shit out of Atlas Destroyer, and the boy May shoots the one of the Reapers, just like bam, 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 does all that. But she's talking to the priestess, talking to the boy, saying, all these individuals must be, dealt with and everything. The boy comes to his senses, shanks her ass, it's like, you ain't talking shit now, are you? I was like, thank you, she's dead now. So
and don't forget the High Priestess. Obviously, every other one of the Sisters of the Kaiju is a woman who's been kidnapped or enslaved. Right. The High Priestess for some sort of hybrid herself.
Yes.
That's one thing I haven't mentioned. When you first saw the High Priestess with her mask off, she wasn't human. Mm-hmm. She was some sort
I think she was a precursor. She might have been a precursor.
I think she might have been a precursor, but I do know that before the series there is a prequel graphic novel that I think goes more into depth with the precursors, like in the Sisters of the Kaiju. It's called Pacific Rim Blackout. I don't have it, but I don't know if anyone who's watching's read it, but that I think that might be, it might tell you more about the High Priestess and the origins of the Sisters of the Kaiju. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah. No, yeah, and finish it off. Jedi Granville, or if you want to finish it off.
No, it's fine, and I'll let
finish it. Finish it. Jedi.
Okay, well, seeing that they're getting beat down and everything, and they're about to, they're pretty much done with, Haley and Taylor. Lola pretty much senses to herself, I can't let no other pilots die here, So she for a better turn of thought, I'm going to sacrifice myself. I'm going to set the detonator for the Jaeger and sacrifice myself and save you two, because we've realized she's lost pilots in the past. It's like, I'm not losing you. I'm not. I've grown attached to you. So I'm going to show you that I'm getting you out of here. So she sets out, gets them in the escape pods, get them out of there. And she just says, countdown. She explains to them, I don't usually give odds, but that shows that I've had more about myself than just because I had an emotion chip in me. She sets them off, gets them out of there before she blows. And, well, Kaiju 6 is no more, because she blows herself up and booyah, there it is. It's done. Category 6 is done. It's over with, and they feel kind of sad about this, because
the bonded with Loa, because if you think from the very moment that they set off on the adventure, basically from the base in the beginning, she was their only connection. She became their friend, their guide. She, and I think because she's got the emotion chips and she's an artificial intelligence, she grow, I guess, what you call equivalent of real emotions for Haley and Taylor. And so she couldn't see them die. So she protected them and saved them by putting the self-destruct on and letting them see. And they didn't want to leave. They were saying, "Don't do it, Lola, don't do it." And she basically forced them to be ejected.
Yeah.
And
she forced them into the escape pods.
She did. And they didn't want to go. They didn't want it to be forced because it's like, no, we can do something. It's like, no, it's done. I'm over with. You have to live. And after her sacrifice, after she's done what she's done, we see them go. Boy, Taylor, Haley, and May go to the Sydney outpost. And this is the ending right here. This was kind of a mind hit for me. It's almost a reinterpretation of what happened when we had Brianna, when she was with them in the mine. It's almost a copy,
A reenactment. Yeah.
It's virtually the same ending, except Bria isn't there.
Right.
So the same things happen. They meet the general, and then they go, "Where's the father?" And then the car pulls up, and he comes out, and he literally hugs them. And it's just like, it's the reunion that you were hoping for. They got the happy ending, sort of. It would have been great if the mother survived, but unfortunately. And then the next thing you know, they go, I think the last scene is when they go to where a gravestone is it? Where she's been entombed, the mother.
Yeah, it's like a crypt. Yeah, it's a crypt. Yeah.
And it's got all the names of all the people who have been sacrificed or died through the war with the kaiju. And it's got a full name and a plaque on and all together.
Yeah, it was that part was, I mean, when Ford puts his hand on there and it has a picture with the flowers and everything, and he's like, shit, I survived, but why couldn't my wife survive? He didn't say that, but he's just like, yeah. And then Taylor and Haley and even May's there too. So May's like that, and then even Boy's there, and then even Haley looks at Marcel Rast and says, and then he says, "So did you guys find out anything about Boy?" And he says, "Well, Boy was actually a weapon. He was a weapon created by the precursors, and that he was, as me. Well, I'm pretty sure he was what me and Kaiju Pim Daddy were referring to, and he was probably an infiltrator. He was probably an infiltration prototype of hybrid. So and it's crazy how." Even Rask, he pats his head, saying it's a good thing that even before, one thing we didn't reference before, we got to the end was that about who was it? It was Taylor said about Boy was that, yeah, I thought I want to apologize. I said he apologized to Haley saying, well, you know what, I shouldn't have thought that way about Boy. You were right. You changed him. What you did, the love and compassion you showed him changed him. Like it made him into a different person. It made him what he was not supposed to become. He was supposed to become an infiltrator, a destroyer, but he ended up, becoming part of their family, which was, if it wasn't for Haley, as much as a pain in the ass as she was, if it wasn't for her, Boy would have destroyed him.
Yeah.
So, well, the moral of the story is, when it comes to that, love wins, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, and he says, like, even Rast, even towards the end, he said that we don't even know how we're gonna, they didn't even reference how they're gonna still keep battling the kaiju, because Sydney, that's a shatter dome. It was Sydney shatter dome, and that's one of the last shatter domes on the planet. That's active. So how are they gonna build? How are they gonna keep building? How are they gonna keep building Jaegers? How are they gonna find resources to continue the production of Jaegers and stuff like that? And if there's Category 6 kaijus, how the hell can the Pan Pacific Defense Force create kaijus that big, or create Jaegers that big?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's like you said. What I did like about the ending was that it leaves you guessing. Like, imagine what they could have done. Imagine what other stuff they could have done with more if they would have continued the series. You know, and yeah, man. But besides that, that's how it ended. You know, it ended on somewhat of a happy ending, but still makes you think, still has you thinking and stuff. You know what I mean?
Ended the whole show from season 1 to 2. It had a start, a middle, and a defiant ending. But the ending always left you with question marks, and the whole show had question marks in it because there are certain plot holes that you're never going to get the answers to. Like, for example, I mentioned, why did Shane take me in the first place? Why did he kidnap her?
Yeah.
And like Spider, when he left me on the bike, he just rode off. Where did Spider go?
Yep.
You know, and how did the female precursor, or if that is what she is, the high priestess, how did she end up in our world?
Yep.
You know, there's question marks across the board, and the biggest question mark is what's going to happen with Jack? What's going to happen with Haley, Taylor, and Boy next in May? We're never going to find.
Well, as you say, it's kind of like what you said, Daniel. You know, it's left you with question marks, but you know what? I think it's left to the interpreter who's watching to make up their own, you know, thought and process. Because I can say right now, as an example, the ending to John Carver's The Thing, you don't really know what the outcome is at the end of that. I mean, you see these two guys, you know, they're about to die, but is any one of those a thing? Do we know for sure? We don't really know. It's left up to the viewers, you know, personal, you know, outcome and thought process on that. And with this, it's the same thing. If they were to do a third season, if that's possible, maybe, but I think they would still leave us more with question marks and answers. So I think like in the end, it's just going to be, you know, up to the viewer.
I think when they made Pacific Rim the Black, it was always intended to be a 2-part story. I think even when they launched the first season, they were already working on the second season. In my opinion, it's like it was always going to be just 2 seasons. You know, it's a bit like the Ultraman series that's on Netflix. I think they did the first season and they already had an order for a second season. So I think Pacific Rim the Black was very much similar, where it was a 2-season ordered show. And I quite like it as well because it was a consistent story all the way through.
Yeah, it was.
And you know, you get shows that they just carry on, and after 3 or 4 seasons, they just lose the way. Where this hasn't lost its way; it's still in your mind.
Yeah, it's like you keep when you keep something going so long, you like that's the whole point about a good story. Every good story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this one was, I think, almost not perfect, but it was almost perfect in the way they executed everything from beginning to end. And this is I'm not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite animes that came out especially since 2021. It came out in 2020. No, 2021. It came out last year, and they came out with the second season within like Kaiju Goodness was saying. It's like they probably made both seasons at the same time, but they wanted to keep the space between them to keep it interesting, to keep it fresh, and it did, man. I mean, it surprised the fucking hell out of me, man. Like like Walter. Like Walter was saying, like it was, like Walter said, even Erica, when she saw it, she told me, she's like, wow, she really enjoyed it. She's like, this was anime, and it had anime, sci-fi, drama, dark, a dark tone, a little humor, they kept the humor just right. They left the humor at the right level. And it was.
As I said to you, I am new to anime. You know anime. I don't know anime. I only kind of watched this because of the movies, and I prefer this over the movies.
Yeah.
I would watch the first Pacific Rim film, then this series, and I prefer even this Pacific Rim the Black over Godzilla Singular Point.
Yeah.
I just think this is a lot more. It just draws you in this story. It had more convincing characters. It had. Let's just talk about the voice acting work as well. The voice cast were ideal. Every voice fitted the character.
Yep.
So the people who made this show made this with good intentions, with heart. They had great scripts, great storytelling. The animation was fantastic, and there was a lot of thought. I thought put into this show for a 2-part animated series show. There was a lot of thought, and yet some shows don't get that. Even live action shows with real actors. This for me was just a brilliant show.
Yeah, man, it was like I said, I when it had Pacific Rim on it, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it, even if it's not good, I'm gonna watch it. Like just like Uprising. I still ended up buying Uprising because I enjoyed the first one so much, but I still bought it even though it wasn't that great. I still bought like Uprising because I did like some of the designs of the new Jaegers and some of the designs of the kaijus. But this one, man, to me, this one's on par with the first one. It's on par with the first one, and I liked the fact that this animated series gave more depth to Uprising. Not much, but it gave it more depth, and it made it. Let's just say it made it relevant. It made Uprising relevant for as bad as Uprising was. But yeah, man, that's what I say. Last thoughts. What are you guys' last thoughts? What time is it over there with you, Kaiju Goodness?
7 minutes past 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oh wow. Shit! Fuck! Wow.
What can I say? I'm a fucking night owl. I don't sleep. I don't. I might as well just fucking stay awake 24/7.
Yeah, if only we all can do that.
You'd be all right.
Nah, man.
No,
you like
final thought. This is my personal final thought. I've already, mentioned great storytelling, great voice acting, great animation, and even the CGI animation was on par. And to link it up with what you said with the films, if you look at the films, the goofy kaiju fun. People will look at Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim Uprising as just goofy kaiju popcorn flick, not too serious, goofy, just a lot of fun. But I believe the series Pacific Rim the Black made Pacific Rim serious. It made it relatable. It made it watchable. It made it more mainstream. It wasn't just, you couldn't just watch the show and go, oh, what am I watching? This is just going to be some goofy kaiju fun. No, there was strong content, to make it serious. Like I said before, the people who made this put a lot of heart and effort into it.
Yeah.
So if I had to rate this out of 5 stars, I would give it 4.5 stars straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like I said. I'll just, like I said, my final thoughts before I get to Jedi Grand Veil is like, I'll just say it, like I said, it surprised the hell out of me, and it was way, way more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. And I can't wait, and hopefully they'll release it on Blu-ray, DVD. I hope they do, because I need a copy of this. I need a copy of this series, man. Like this series is like, this is a series you can watch. Like I can watch more than once. Like that's how good it is, and that's why I enjoy it. And like usually my rating is a percentage rating. So I'll give it, what I give it out of a percentage rating, man. I give it a 95. Like I give it a 95%.
Yeah.
And 95, and It's like I said, it's because it's everything. It's the depth, the character, the CGI, the story, the tone. Everything is that's my take on it. And I enjoyed it, man. Now let's get to Jedi Granville. What's your last thoughts, man?
Well, dude, as I mentioned before, this was something that was suggested by you, and when I first started watching it, I thought, I'm not really gonna. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll be all right. This shows wholeheartedly why good story arcs, good characters, just good storylines, period, work to make a show like this. Because I'm gonna tell you, if the story just was like limp and the characters were just like that, it's like I would have just like, well, I have to tell you, Daniel, fuck this, I don't want to watch it no more. I didn't feel that way. This show really got me invested with the characters, what they were doing, what they were saying, what their ambitions were, everything, and it made me realize, like I say, everything was good about it, but I was just like, you really get lost in the fact that these are really just ordinary individuals who are fighting to get something that they want. The kids, they're trying to see if their parents are still alive. May, she's just trying to see who she is, and Shane, he's asshole. He wants to be the big kid on the block, as I say. And of course, the sisters, the cunts that they are, they just want to seem like want to rule the fucking world or whatever, But basically, this show surprised the hell out of me. And I can say, hopefully the people who put it together do make something else that I can say I can invest myself into. Because if not, it's like, I think they did a home run with this one. And I'm kind of like with Kevin, I'm planning like giving it a 4 out of 5 stars with it, because it's just that good. It's really well made, and hopefully whoever gets a chance to watch it, if I recommend it to anyone, you get to watch it. You'll be surprised how good it is. You get invested, not just because you got sci-fi, you got action, you get invested with characters, you get invested with the story. And I feel like that's what you need more of,
Yes.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I agree with both you guys. And like I said, I give it a 95%. I give it 95%, rating from, 1 to 100. And like, it's you gotta really be into that genre. And, you guys know me, I'm a sci-fi fucking junkie. And, this is, and it's especially my type of show. And, that's, like I said, I love this show, and hopefully we'll get it on Blu-ray or DVD soon, or, hopefully they'll keep it on Netflix, forever. Who knows? But I doubt it. But I mean,
my hopes is I hope this isn't the end of the Pacific Rim franchise. I know that they'll probably keep on putting out graphic novels, but I hope if this is the end of this story within the world of Pacific Rim, with these particular characters, I hope the same team behind this story come up with another great Pacific Rim story to continue on the franchise. And I hope we get more anime. I'd rather see the franchise continue with another anime 2-part series.
Yeah.
And if the storytelling's just as good, the characters are just as good, and it sucks you in like the way Pacific Rim the Black did, and I'll be all for it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. I think they will. I think I heard that they were gonna do another one, but they didn't say when or what. They didn't say when or where. But as far as that, that's what I heard. So, but like I said, man, I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, that's for everyone who was watching, that as far as that goes, there's our take, discussion, and and review on what we thought about Pacific Rim the Black. And if anybody who's watching, I would say, if you haven't seen it, Gojira 851, Matt, I highly recommend. We highly recommend it, man. It's, if you like kaijus, you like Jaegers, you like mechs going at it, man. Anybody who's a sci-fi junkie like I am, or like we are, I think you guys will enjoy it, So, but as far as that goes, guys, I would like to thank everyone who joined the stream, everyone on chat. Jose Petron, my primo. I'm glad that he joined. And next time, on my next stream that we have for the Sci Fi Society, I'll try to get more people on. And well, besides that, man, coming from my two special guests, of course, the newest, one of the newest members, who is Kaiju Pimp Daddy Goodness. Kaiju Pimp Daddy Goodness. He'll be joining if we're able to. He'll start joining more of the streams more often when I start having them, and then of course.
I hope you
do. Yep, one of the founding fathers of the Sci-Fi Society, Jedi Granville. Yep,
I feel honored for having me. Thank you for having me on your stream. It's been fun. It's been a blast. I've enjoyed it, and
you were a highlight, my friend. Trust me, my brother.
Yeah, you were tearing it up, man. And like I said, me and Walter were rusty, man, after like a 4-month hiatus from freaking doing any streams, man. And you were taking up the, how do you say, you were taking the freaking the steering wheel after a half year.
Right, and that's why I say, like, do it. Okay. This is your channel, man. You just disappeared.
You see what I mean, man? You see what I mean? But yeah, guys. But anyways, I'm glad you guys were able to join. I'm glad you guys were able to, join my stream and everything like that. There's plenty of more streams to come from the Sci-Fi Society. So I want to thank everyone for watching. D-Film Fanatic, Lone Wolf Ronin, Lil Loki who joined, Eric Glasgow, Gojira51.
Blast.
Everybody who joined, man, thank you guys very much. And we will be back with another, live stream, which will be this time volume 8 for Castlevania season 1 and 2. And hopefully Kevin Lambert and aka Kaiju Goodness will join us. I know Jedi Granville will be on that.
I better get checking it out, because I haven't seen it yet. I need to check it out.
I think you'll enjoy it.
And make sure to get do your homework on those, Kaiju Goodness, and we'll add that to volume 8, man. But as far as that, guys, we are the Sci-Fi Society. We always keep it fucking raw and real. We don't give a shit. We're not flashy. We're not flamboyant. We just say it like it is. So peace out, everybody, and thank you for joining the stream. See you on the next one.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.